Welcome into the best in true crime podcasting. This is True Crime Tuesday. I'm your host, Tim Dennis. Normally, I tell you, boy, folks, do we have a good show in store. I'll tell you, we have an awesome show in store for you today. Not only do we have Dumb Crime, Stupid Criminals coming up in the second half of the program, boy, have we got a good show coming up for you here in the first part of the program. We're going to welcome back Burl Barer, who is with us in the first part of the program. We also have Fred Wolfson with us today. Fred Wolfson has co-authored a book with Burl today. It's called Secrets of a Hollywood Private Eye, a rollicking, no-holds-barred expose of Tinseltown. Fred Wolfson is perhaps America's most famous private investigator. His client list is a who's who of showbiz celebrities, famed politicians, including a president of the United States, and those English bad boys, and happened to be one of the first albums I ever purchased was Tattoo You by the Rolling Stones. I know I'm dating myself. Semi-retired and living in Florida, Fred also still consults clients worldwide as a private investigator. Burl Barer is with us as well. He's an Edgar Award winning author and accomplished media professional with a career spanning several decades. Among his many books, his WildBlue Press true crime classic Murder in the Family is ranked number 3 on the 10 best true crime books ever written, and he is listed as one of America's 100 must-read authors. Let's welcome into True Crime Tuesday both Fred Wolfson and Burl Barer. Gentlemen, thank you for joining me today on True Crime Tuesday.
My pleasure.
Thank you, Tim, for having me.
Oh, thank you both. Guys, I got to tell you, I loved reading this book, and I loved getting inside the mind of a private eye, of a private investigator. And there's a lot of helpful stuff for the average person in here, just the average person who wants to, let's just say, sort things out in their average life. Because let's face it, a lot of us have things in our average life that we just need to figure out or get behind or get in front of. We all have our daily struggles, and we, sometimes people are deceptive. Is that fair to say, Fred? Is that fair to say people are deceptive and we need to figure out other people so we can keep ourselves safe?
I think most people lie. Most people lie about everything. They lie about day-to-day activities where telling the truth would have been easier and better for them. They lie about it. They lie because they fear the consequences and they're embarrassed. Yeah.
Burl, were you going to say something there?
No, I just wondered whether Fred was lying about that.
No.
I'm the polygraph examiner, Burl.
That's right.
So you wouldn't know.
That's right.
Well, yeah, that's true. Yeah. It's interesting. In the beginning of the book, I think you put it so eloquently, Fred, in that you say, most people are not bad. There are a lot of good people out there. There's not hooligans and murderers, roaming the streets, killing people at will. There are a lot of great people out there, but the fact of the matter is, people are deceptive. They can be deceptive, and they do want to own up to it. The fact of the matter is they do want to own up to it. But the people that, let's face it, that are deceptive, I believe you put it this way: we're built to tell the truth. Is that fair to say, Fred? We're built to tell the truth.
Yeah, we are.
Okay. And in that, we can't hold on to a lie for very long unless there's something really wrong with you. If you're a psychopath or you just a sociopath, you have something wrong with you. Why is it, though, that we want to try to get away with the lie? What is it about us that we think we can get away with one?
And that's the flight or fright syndrome, where you either confront what you're doing or you leave. And most people do not want to confront their shortcomings or their mistakes, and they're embarrassed or they're afraid of the consequences, so they lie.
What is it about Tim? Go ahead, Burl. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Well, I was going to ask a question also under further explanation. Some people just can't stop lying. They're almost compulsive. They'll lie when there's no sane, rational reason to. You know, where are you today? Oh, I'm in Louisville, Kentucky. No, but I'm not. Why would I say that? There'd be no reason to say it.
Right.
It makes the people who are listening to it crazy, and I think it's unhealthy. I think lies damage not only the brain of the person who tells them, but the brain of the person who hears them, because your brain is constantly building synapses and constructs based on information. And when the information doesn't connect accurately, it screws your brain up. That's just my opinion. I'm not a, whatever you call a brain doctor.
A psychologist?
But I think it makes sense that hearing lies is unhealthy.
All right, I'm going to ask an interesting question. I want both your perspectives. I'm going to start with Fred. Who's more damaged, the person who continues to pile on the lies or the person who wants to believe them? Fred, who do you think?
Both are damaged. The person telling the lie is damaged because he's telling the lie and he has to keep that within him. And that's not natural for the body because it causes you anxiety. It causes you to be upset with yourself, essentially, because you know you're lying. And the body wants to tell the truth. That's why your face turns red, your ears turn red, why you do different things, why you cross your hands. Those are all signs of the parasympathetic nervous system kicking in, trying to protect you.
Burl, what do you think? Who's more damaged, the person piling on the lies or the person who's willing to accept the lies?
Well, the person who's willing to accept the lies lie to themselves. So you have two lies. Affecting the one that they're hearing and the one that they're creating to justify not, confronting the lie. So maybe it's like a tag team match, a combination of tennis and professional wrestling.
Hey, I love me some pro wrestling. You're talking to the right guy here. Now I'm gonna ask you guys in the when it comes to crime, and especially violent crime, it seems like crime turns violent when the person who has been buying the lie for so long refuses to buy that lie. Is that fair to say, Fred? Would you say that?
I never said that.
No. I'm asking. Is that the case? Because it seems to me especially when I see most cases, when you see a criminal turn violent, and maybe it's just a matter of time. Maybe I'm wrong about this, but it seems to me that when a criminal turns violent, it's the matter of, and I'm just talking violent criminals here. When it comes to let's just say a crime of rage or passion, or even an abusive situation, spousal abuse that goes to violence and murder. It's a crime of lies that this person continues to lie to himself, to the spouse, or lie to the victim, and they're lying over and over and over again to a point where they can't get out of that corner. And the person who's been accepting the lies decides to straighten up and say, I'm not taking your lies anymore. And they come to this impasse. And the only way for the liar to get out of it is to exercise violence in their mind. I'm not saying that that's the only way out of it, but in their mind, that's their only way to get out of the impasse. Am I wrong about how I'm reading that situation?
Most of the people who you see on the news are psychotic. Mm-hmm. They don't know the difference between right and wrong. They don't know. They just lose it. And they don't think about anything at the time. Every murderer I've ever spoken with said to me, I just lost it. I don't know what I was doing at the time. I didn't think of anything. I just did it. I don't know why I did it, but I did it. So it's like an out-of-body experience almost. But they knew what they were doing. the thing that, can we change the subject a second about gun control?
Sure. If you like, sure.
Okay. Everybody's talking about gun control now, but the guns aren't doing anything. The guns are fine. It's the people that we have to weed out. It's the people who are psychotic and don't think right. My thinking is this: if you want to buy a gun, you should have to go through a psychiatrist, and he has to give you like an MMPI or something that sanctions you as someone who deserves to have a gun. And he's putting his license on the line, saying that you're healthy enough to own a gun. Mm-hmm. If that would happen, we would cut down on these mass murderers and these people who are buying guns. The only thing is, you can't stop people from buying guns. The people who are buying guns are buying them legally in the stores. So that's not working. Mm-hmm. Then buy guns on the street.
Very true. Very true.
So it's the people. It's not the guns. Let's regulate the people and let's screen out the psychotic people who shouldn't own a gun. That's the problem as I see it.
Can I put a little tag on that?
Sure, go ahead, bro.
No.
Rhonda Glover, who murdered her boyfriend by shooting him 13 times with a Glock 9mm because she believed that he and George W. Bush were having homosexual sex with clones in a cave under her house. And
that was true. That was true, Burl.
Yep, that part was true. Yeah. But that's a sideline. We'll get to that later. But she had no trouble at all buying that Glock. And they asked her a question: have you ever been in a mental institution? Are you nuts? That's one of the little questions. You have to check the box. Are you batshit? Yes or no? And there's no way to double check that. She had been in and out of mental institutions all of her life. She goes, look, I'm blind. No, I've never been in a mental institution. There's no way of checking up on it. People's medical records are protected. Mm-hmm. You just check the box as a piece of paper. And she had no trouble buying the gun, practicing the scenario of how to kill him, and then killing him. And the clones are still in the cave. It didn't stop a thing.
That's true. And they are stopping people who, actually, they're stopping people who are on medical marijuana from buying guns. I mean, if they're stopping people who are on medical marijuana from buying guns, they probably should be stopping people who are, have mental illness from buying guns.
Right.
That makes sense.
You're not supposed to tell a mentally ill person a gun. You're not supposed to do that in the first place. It's like you're not supposed to serve alcohol to someone who's drunk. But see how often that's enforced.
Yeah.
Well, that's easy. All you have to do is check a box that says, have you ever been institutionalized in a mental institution? And it's yes or no. And all you got to do is check no, and good enough.
Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah, there's nobody.
You're absolutely right.
There's nobody checking up on that. Yeah, I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying there. Let's talk a little bit about some other things that are in the book as well. As far as speaking of checking up on people and checking up on things that they're doing, in the beginning of the book, there's a huge chapter on infidelity. If we can get into that a little bit, and I know there are a lot of people who are in the audience who have dealt with it in one respect or another. Let me ask you this, Fred. Why do people find it so easy to step out? It happens to a lot of people. I forget the percentages, and you could probably remind me here, Fred. But why is it so easy? Why is it so easy to do it? Why is it so easy to get caught?
Because you rationalize and justify in your mind why what you're doing is correct. You say to yourself, well, she didn't have dinner on the table last Thursday, and that's good enough reason for me to be having an affair. You talk yourself into it. You justify it in your own mind, and it's just justification and rationalization is all it is.
Is it easy to catch somebody at it by yourself, or is it a hard thing to do and really have the solid evidence? I'm not going to get into the specifics of who, what, where, why. That's in the book, and people can go get the book to find out how to do it yourself. But is it an easy process to do?
Yes. People don't take care of themselves when they're cheating or when they're committing a crime. I call it half brain. They don't use their full brain at the time. Like, an example would be having a phone number in your pocket with the name Mary on it, and your wife or husband finding it, and you shouldn't have left it there in the first place. So we screw up all the time. We're not professional crooks and thieves. Professional crooks and thieves don't get caught. Mm-hmm. We get caught.
Very true. Very true. Burl, were you going to say something there? I didn't hear you.
No, there's a story in the book that I can really relate to, and is that it's easy to catch people if they're cheating and you suspect it, you can probably find it. You got to beware, however, of thinking people are cheating and accusing them of it when they're not, because of your active imagination and what circumstances may be. The particular story in the book, which I can verify is a 100% true story, is a fellow goes to Hawaii to direct some TV commercials. Takes with him a photographer he's used to working with and one model he's used to working with. And the client finds that they can get a great deal on the family plan on the airlines and at the hotel. So the client books them all under the director's last name, although that isn't actually the case, and puts them in a suite at the hotel in Hawaii. And the female has her own room, within this suite, and the gentlemen have theirs. But it's like two rooms that are connected. But, she can lock the door. The director's wife calls the hotel and wants to know if her husband has checked in. And you go, yes. The family checked in, the gentleman and his wife and uncle, whatever it was all. And so she assumes that the three of them are having, the best three ways since an extension cord. And which they're not. But she's just going ballistic and messing with the whole shoot of the commercials and everything, constantly calling, outraged by this behavior that isn't taking place.
Which is kind of unbelievable. And that's the other thing, when you have it in your mind that maybe your spouse or your significant other is doing something behind your back, that's not going to come out of your head very easily. And so you're going to continue to pursue that, whether it's true or not. And reading that story in the book was kind of funny, even though it did damage a relationship there, which isn't so funny. One of the questions I want to ask about Hollywood, and Hollywood is in the title of the book. I don't want to necessarily go deep or necessarily go into the Roseanne Tom Arnold thing at all, because I want to save it for people to read. It's a very interesting story, but I do want to get into tabloids and how necessarily how important it is for celebrities to try to keep infidelity private. And is it as widespread as we think it is? Fred, is it really as widespread as we think it is? Are movie stars really hooking up with each other on sets as much as we think they are?
And more.
Really?
Oh, yeah. I've done a lot of work for the studios as a technical advisor to the writers. and I was working with, it doesn't matter, and a woman walked into the writer's room and had a conversation with the star, and they walked out and came back, and he came back pulling up the zipper.
Whoa.
And we said, what does that mean? He said, what do you think it means? That's how flagrant it is.
Wow. And I suppose if the trailers are rocking, don't come knocking. Is that the deal on sets as well?
Nobody talks about it. If you talk about it, you're no longer on set. You're no longer working.
So it's just taking a blind eye, huh? We just don't discuss it.
I did a big case for one of the tabloids where they were being sued by this big star for being homosexual. And he said, it's not true. I never had a homosexual experience, and on and on. We hired a professional cameraman who was a male model. Mm-hmm. And we set him up as the photographer on a shoot. And what we had is, in this studio, we had set up video cameras. We invited the star, or we told him it was a shoot for the studio, and he came over, and we had it all set up. And the cameraman, the photographer, was gay. The star was gay, and they were left alone in the studio with our video cameras. To make a long story short, it happened on the set, and we had the people come back to the tabloid's office and talk about settlement, have them talk about settlement. And they said, all right, how much are you offering? And they said, well, let me show you this first. And we showed him the video of him having sex with the photographer. And they withdrew the suit.
Wow. Well, is that a settlement or is that blackmail? I mean, is there a fine line?
What is it? It is what it is. The guy says he wasn't gay. He's suing the tabloids. He was gay.
True. Okay. So there's a lie, essentially a lie. But
right.
But
he lied. He's suing the tabloids for not being gay, and he is gay.
But it also I'm guessing at the time that this happened, I don't know what decade this happened in. It also is a threat to end his career. So at that time, isn't that an act of blackmail?
Well, if our intention was to blackmail him, we would have done that, without giving him the information. But we gave him the information, and he knew. He knew we had him, and he backed down with his phony lawsuit that he wasn't gay.
True. Is it? Let me put it to you this way: in modern day 2023, is it so much a worry of the studios as to who is sleeping with who, or is it more titillation for tabloids?
It's more titillation for tabloids.
Okay. Yeah. Because to me, it seems like, although we are, as I put it previously, titillated for tabloids, it sounds like some sort of a book we may write for True Crime Tuesday. To me, it seems like there was more, as you just stated with this last case, there was more of a scandal to it decades ago than there is now. Is that fair to say?
it was more repulsed. The idea of being gay was more repulsed during the 80s because of the AIDS problem that we had. But as time goes on, people have come more accepting of gays and transsexuals, but there's still hatred in people's hearts. You'll never get rid of that. There's always going to be prejudice. We weren't born prejudiced. We weren't born taught how to hate. That's something that's learned from your parents.
Right.
Learning to hate.
Right.
So,
right. I hear what you're saying there. You know what? When we come back, we'll take our break here. When we come back, I want to talk a little bit about some of the other celebrity experiences you've had. I want to find out this Rolling Stones thing, Fred, if you don't mind. And I'm a huge fan. So if you don't mind, if we can find out a little bit about that. Also, a little tidbit I learned off air, you've worked with Flip Wilson. So I want to ask you a little bit about your experience with Flip Wilson and let our audience know about that as well. I'm a huge Flip Wilson fan. It's a little bit of Timmy service here. That's all it is. And then we'll talk a little bit more about the book. This book is incredibly interesting, folks, and I want you to check it out during the break. We have a link in the description of this program. Secrets of a Hollywood Private Eye, a rollicking, no-holds-barred expose of Tinseltown. Fred Wolfson is our guest. He is the co-author along with Burl Barer. When we come back, I also want to talk a little bit about, we have an issue in this country with runaways and children running away. I want to talk to Fred and Burl about what you can do if you have issues with a child that maybe is having some issues, that a child that looks like they may be on the precipice of running away. Maybe you're having issues with a child that may be running away here or on the getting ready to run away on you, or a problem child. We'll also talk about your business. Maybe you have issues with your business. Maybe you have employees that aren't so great. We'll talk a little bit about that as well. When we come back, you're listening to True Crime Tuesday. Welcome back to the best in true crime podcasting. This is True Crime Tuesday. I'm your host, Tim Dennis. We have a great show going on here, folks. We've got Fred Wolfson and Burl Barer. They have a book out there right now called The Secrets of a Hollywood Private Eye, a rollicking, no-holds-barred expose of Tinseltown. It's out right now on WildBlue Press. We've got a link in the description of this program. Go ahead, click on that link and get yourself a copy of that book. Fred, if you'll indulge me for just a few moments. One, I got to tell you, the first album I ever bought, this is how much of a whippersnapper I am. The first album I ever bought with my allowance, my dad worked for Musicland. He was a project manager for Musicland. So I got $5 a week for an allowance. I worked very hard for it. It wasn't given to me. I had to do a lot of chores around the house and out in the yard, stuff like that. But he said, you know what? You can either have the $5 or I will turn it in for you and you can buy an album. So I was like, ooh, I get to buy music. So the first thing I did is I combined a couple of allowances and I had him buy Rolling Stones Tattoo You, and I bought it on 8-track. So there you go.
good buy.
Yeah, thanks. I enjoyed it thoroughly. I also then went and bought it on cassette and on vinyl. I was that obsessed with that album.
Wow.
Yeah. So, I single-handedly made the Rolling Stones rich. Tell me a little bit about working with the Stones, if you can. What was it like to work with them, and what was your experience with them?
I was hired by an attorney, a showbiz attorney, in L.A., and Keith Richards had a pair of pants this is an incredible story. He had a pair of pants stolen from him, and they were like, these movie star or these rock and roll pants, with sequins, and there were $35,000 pants, just to give you an idea.
Oh, wow.
What these pants were worth. And they thought one of their roadies had stolen it. to make a long story short, I found out it was his chef's child, the chef who he had working at the house.
Mm-hmm.
He lived in the Hollywood Hills at the time, and he had a swimming pool in the middle of his living room. I swear to God. The chef's son had taken the pants. Ironically, I'm watching the History Channel, and you ever watch Porn Stars?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
I swear to you, last week I'm watching Porn Stars, and what do I see? Keith Richards' pants.
Really?
Yeah, on Porn Stars.
Huh. That's bizarre. So, do you think he fenced them, or what do you do with a pair of pants that are that expensive?
You sell them to someone who's got a TV show, and they authenticated they were Keith Richards' pants, and they bought them.
Really? So, how do you go about procuring them back for Keith? Or do you?
I contacted the production company, and they wanted nothing to do with it because it would entail litigation. So they just backed off.
Huh. Interesting. Interesting indeed.
But we were talking before about children. I talked a lot about children. I was doing a lot of TV. I was on the home show as a regular on the home show. I did hundreds of TV and radio shows. And one of the things I talk about is protecting your children.
Yes. Yep.
How to protect your children from predators.
Mm-hmm.
And you've got to teach your kids about there's bad out there. You cannot protect them from everything all the time. They've got to know that there's bad people and bad things that are happening out there.
Yes.
One of the things I suggest, and nobody does this, and I don't know why. I don't know if we should put it in the book if it's not in the book. One of the things I used to suggest on TV is, the peephole in your door?
The what?
Do you have the peephole in your door?
Oh, peephole. Yeah, yes. Yep.
Yeah. I suggest doing a second peephole where your child can see.
Oh, yeah.
Through, and who's looking at, who's on the other side of the door. And that's a simple thing you can do to protect your kids so they don't have to open the door. Now we have...
I don't mean to interrupt, Fred, but I've actually seen that in some apartment buildings, a lower peephole for smaller people, either smaller people or children. It's not common. It's not. I've only seen it in one building, but yeah, I have seen it, but it's not common at all. But go ahead. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt.
Well, now they have Ring, which the camera, which really protects the child and lets them know. But that's not for poor people. That's for people who have money. People who live on Social Security or Medicare or Medicaid, not going to afford a Ring camera.
Right. So, yeah, you're absolutely right there.
Somebody once asked me, should you test your child? Should you go to the door or have somebody go to the door and pretend to kidnap them? I said, no. I talked to a psychiatrist, and he said, that's going to impact your child for the rest of their lives. They're going to be scared of everything. Mm-hmm. You never traumatize your child like that.
Yeah.
And people were doing it. They were sending people to their house to try to kidnap their child.
Oh, my God.
And that's really wrong.
I would...
You don't teach your child by example like that.
No. No, I can't imagine people who would do that. No. I can see warning them about different scenarios and telling them about different scenarios and saying, there are, I think there's enough information out there on different, you watch different television shows and there's enough information about, how different predators operate that we can sit down with our children and say, listen, I just want you to be aware. This is what's happening out there. And I think, we can sit down and educate them about, hey, if this ever happens to you or this ever happens to you, or if you're on your way home from school and somebody says to you this, or this, because let's face it, predators are getting sneakier and sneakier as to how they get to children these days. There's electronic means, there's physical means, there's, all kinds of different means on how they can get to them.
Well, one of the examples I showed on the home show was a man in Colorado who had a pony and walked around with a pony. And he'd ask children if they'd like to, go for a ride on the pony, and what was the last time the child was seen.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, they do that now with dogs and things. You walk up with a little puppy and you say to the child, I taught parents to teach a child a code word. In other words, if daddy or mommy want you to go and get picked up by somebody, they got to know the code word. And let's say the code word is pumpkin. So unless they know the code word, you don't go with anyone.
Yep.
And that's one of the things you've got to teach your children.
Yeah.
Or if somebody comes up to you and has a badge and say, you got to come with me, you don't have to come with anybody. You get somebody who's walking by and say, sir, could you help me? This man wants to take me.
Yeah, it's a very good idea. It's everything is just a little too suspect these days in order to, be able to trust, because I forget what the figure is as to how quickly after a child is taken, they're considered permanently lost, but it's not a lot of time.
No.
Yeah, and it's scary.
And you got to teach your children how to not get abused and how to not get kidnapped, because they don't know. You don't know instinctively how to protect yourself. So you got to teach them to stay away from people who approach you. And if you can't get help, get somebody who's walking by. Any adult who has a child come up with them saying, this man wants to take me, I don't know who he is, will help the child.
Well, you would hope so. The one thing I'm disappointed in, Fred, these days is that there are more and more people who seem to not want to get involved. Then
you go to the next person.
True. You can't stop trying. You can't stop trying.
Right.
That's true. Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Let me ask you this, Fred. There's a flip side to this coin when it comes to our children. And that is the children that feel like maybe they're on a little bit of a darker path, like they want to run away from home, that there's nothing for them there. They feel a disconnect between themselves and parents, and they feel like maybe there's a better way outside of the home and they're just going to leave. If there is that disconnect and you feel like a child is going to flee, what are some of the ways you can kind of head them off at the pass?
Number one, don't ever give a child a phone in their name. Put it in your name, not your child's name. The reason is, if you ever have to call and get information from the phone company, like Verizon or whoever, the phone's in your name, your social security number, not the child's name. So if you need information on your bill, you can call and get a copy of your bill as long as you have all the information. You know your name, you know your social security number, you know where you live, you know where you work, and Verizon or a phone company will give you the numbers that you called. And from there, you need a private investigator or somebody who can break phone numbers. Today, you can break most phone numbers on the internet. People have ways, I don't know if you see them, you can break a phone number on the internet, and they have 90% of phone numbers right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So you look through that, and you break all the phone numbers, and you see all of a sudden your daughter's starting to call somebody in Washington, D.C., and you live in Pennsylvania. Now, why would they be calling somebody in Washington, D.C.? Because of Facebook and all these social media platforms, you have access to everyone all over the world. So now you have an idea where they might be. They might be in Washington. You don't know that they have any friends in Washington. I would call that number and find out, or have somebody go to that address and find out if your child's there.
Also, electronically, as far as social media sites, there's got to be ways as well to shut down electronic communication, which is becoming the new way of being able to lure children in. I know a lot of parents are losing their children to predators as far as social media contact and messenger contact as well.
Yes. There was a show on NBC, to Catch a Predator. Do you remember that?
Oh, yes. Yep.
Yeah. And that shows you how easy it is to get children to come and visit someone who they have no idea who it is.
Yeah, most definitely. It's a scary proposition having children here in the last 20 years and being able to keep them safe. I know that much. But
that's very true.
Very true. And there's a lot of good information in the book, especially on how to keep not only your children safe, but keep them close to you, especially if it looks like maybe they're straying from the straight and narrow path. How to keep them bound financially, keep them bound electronically so that you can keep them to your side and something terrible doesn't happen to them. There's also some consequences of those terrible things that can happen to them in the book as well. Let's move forward here, Fred and Burl. I want to talk a little bit before we leave people today about there's a lot of people who listen to this program who own their own businesses. In fact, a lot of people who are listening while they're at work don't want to call these people bad employees that are listening at work. They're not time wasting. They're actually getting in a little bit of programming as they're working at their desks. But let me talk to you a little bit about time wasting and some other things that could be looked at as a resource drain on companies. It's interesting. There's some good chapters in the book about companies and how they may hire potential employees. And there's also some good chapters about what they can do to find really good employees. And then there's also some chapters here about, how to find not only just finding quality people in general, if you want to find somebody to date, finding a quality date, finding a quality person to marry, finding a quality person to hire. But what was interesting, one of the things I found interesting in one of the chapters was a company losing money due to resource drain and how they stopped that. Now, Fred, I want you to, if you could, address that a little bit, because in these days and times, man, the economy's not great, and they're watching every company's watching every penny. What is it that companies can do from the get-go before they bring a potential employee in that they can do in order to get the right employee, first of all, and then kind of manage it on the back end?
I did an audio tape for Paramount Home Video or Home Audio about Seeds Need Jobs Too. And people are out of work, they need jobs, they're going to not tell you the truth about the last 40 jobs they were fired from for stealing. So you can't let someone in your house with your children without doing a background. You know, on the internet today, you can do a background for about $35. That's all it is. You don't have to hire a PI. I shouldn't say that. But if you can afford it, you should hire a PI. But you don't have to. You can find a lot of information from the individual themselves, but you got to ask the questions. People don't want to ask questions. Like, they think it's illegal to ask, are you married? It's not illegal to ask if you're married. That's not in violation of any codes. But they're afraid. They're afraid of getting sued. So you got to get somebody in your company who can talk to people, who are nice to people, who can get them to open up and talk about their background. Most people can't. You can't sit down with a con man or a thief and get over on them. This is what they do for a living. You don't do this for a living. You run a business. So you got to hire somebody or have somebody in your company who does your hiring and does your interviewing of employees to stop an employee before he enters into your business. And that's the only way to stop it. Stop it before it happens.
Yeah, there you go. There's a couple of interesting chapters here, which even threw me off a bit. And one that I actually have an interesting story that I want to tell you. The one that really threw me off. I mean, we've all heard of small claims debts and how you go about getting a small claims debt collected. And I'll leave that for the book. The one that absolutely shocked me, Fred, has to do with debts from a Las Vegas casino. I had no idea that these were so treacherous, and even the small amounts that you really aren't safe from it. Like, let's say you go to Vegas, you decide you want to be a high roller and you're going to put up a few grand or let's say $5,000. $5,000 is more dangerous than really going high roller and betting the farm, isn't it?
The case I talk about in the book is from a very famous casino who had hired me to track down and find an account for a Mexican businessman who dropped $2 million in that casino and then went back and changed his checking account so they didn't have this current checking account. And we were able to get in there. Do you want me to go into specifics?
If you'd like, it's up to you. You can keep it general or you can go into specifics. Well,
we had to get his bank account information. So what we did, and his bank was American Express private banking. No one's ever been able to break into American Express private banking. To make a long story short, we got in with his marker and his signature on there. I don't want to get into a lot of specifics. And we got his account number. Now, what they said to us was, whatever you do, we don't want to anger him. We want to get the $2 million back, but we don't want to anger him because he doesn't pay for a week of lights that we have here, you know? So we don't want to anger him. We want him to keep playing here. So we don't want him to know how it happened. So we did it and got back his $2 million. We got back the casino's $2 million, and he never knew how it was accomplished.
Wow. That's
it's
crazy.
In the book. It's in the book how we did it.
Yep. And again, folks, we want you to go and pick up that book. There's so much good stuff in here. Even for people who are listening in the audience, if you don't know who your birth parents are, you can find out how you can find your birth parents. There's things in here like, and I'm gonna give you an example of one of my own stories here, having to do with serving a subpoena. How you go about serving a subpoena. If you've got financial cheats out there, dealing with financial cheats, when people owe you money, how to go about collecting money that people owe you. There's so much good stuff in here. Protecting your privacy, which is so important these days. There's so much good stuff about that in this book that you're going to want to check out. There's so much good stuff here, folks, that you're going to want to check out, all from a private eye who can tell you how to do this. Hiding your identity, believe it or not. If for some reason you need to go off the grid, let's say you've just had it, you're going off the grid. Fred tells you how to do that.
How do you do it?
How to do it? How do you do it? Yeah, how do you do it? How do you go off the grid? Fred will tell you, but you got to go get the book. So serving a subpoena. I have an interesting story here for you, Fred. I'll make it quick. So a friend of my mother was, well, actually, I guess it's more of a summons than a subpoena. He had to be served. It was her now ex-husband. And he needed to be served. The only problem was that he didn't want to be served. I think it was divorce papers, if I remember right, is what it was. And he refused to be served. He just told her, you know what, I want to, we're going to stay married. I don't care, no matter what. I just need time to myself for right now, but you're still going to be my wife. I don't care, no matter what. She said, no, I'm done with you. I'm done with your ways. That's it. We're through. And so she's talking to my mom, and I don't know how this happened over coffee, but my mom calls me and says, my friend who I've known for years and I are sitting here, and she wants to know if you'd be willing to serve her husband on this deal. Thinking, well, I know him too. I'm hoping he won't shoot me in the face when I do this. I guess so. She goes, well, there's a catch. I said, okay, what's the catch? Well, he doesn't have a huge alcohol problem. He has somewhat of an alcohol problem, but to avoid her, he checked himself into rehab for 30 days. And she doesn't want to wait.
Oh, good one.
Yeah.
I love that.
Right? Talk about the ultimate Houdini, right? So how do you serve a guy who's in rehab? Right?
How I would do it?
Yeah, how would you do it, Fred?
I would get a job there as a janitor.
Oh, that's a good way to do it. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And get in and find him in his room and serve him.
Good way of doing it. That's extreme. You're getting paid for it. Hey, that's a great way of doing it. Great way of doing it.
I had a good case like that. A guy was impossible to be served. They tried 30 different private eyes and process servers, and nobody could nail this guy. He was a well-protected guy who was in banking, and he had security around him, and nobody could serve him. So I called him up at his office, and I said, sir, I just got an inheritance from my grandfather for $130 million, and I need somebody to invest it with. And he says, that's what we do. We do that. He said, let me meet with you. He said, when are you free? I said, well, this afternoon would work. He said, I can't this afternoon. I'm the guest speaker at the Hyatt in downtown LA, and I'm giving the presentation as the head speaker. So I said, "Oh, what time is that?" He said, 1 to 3. I said, "All right, we'll make it after 3. I can meet you at your office." He said, "Fine." So I go to the Hyatt Regency downtown, and as he's walking off the stage, everybody's shaking his hand, and I went up to shake his hand with the papers.
That's classic. That's good.
Yeah.
So you want to know how I did this, Burl? Both Burl and Fred? This is okay. So here's how I did it. So I said to my mom's friend, "Can he get visitors?" She said, "Yes, but only family." I said, "Okay." I said, "Who's his favorite male family member that he likes to visit with?" She said, "Oh, he has a favorite nephew." I said, "That's perfect. That'll do." So I show up to the treatment center. And I said, I found out where, they meet with family. I showed up during family visiting hours. And I said, "Tell him his nephew so-and-so is here to see him." He shows up.
Good one.
Yep, he shows up. I'm sitting in the chair. He comes in. He looks at me like, I didn't quite know who this is. And I said, "Are you so-and-so?" He goes, "Yes, I am." And I said, "You've been served." I handed him the papers and I walked out.
Oh, you need a part-time job, Tim?
I just may, yeah. That's exactly.
That's a good one, Tim.
Yeah. So that was the one and only time I worked as a process server for a friend. So, yeah.
I had Burl work as a process server for me.
I had the mute button on. I'm sorry.
There you go. Okay. Did you work as a process server?
Yeah, I did. What do you call it? Shadowing or something under Fred's private eye license when he was here in L.A. Working on a case. It was just so exciting. It was harder than hell. I just got roasted trying to do surveillance on somebody. But, talk about financial scams and, Fred and I could both tell you how to prevent these things from happening, but to keep them from happening to us is a different story. And sometimes even when you're aware of something and you bring it to someone else's attention, they don't care. I have discovered that if I use my Cash App card at the AM/PM Arco station on Pico Canyon Drive, inside, within 2 hours, there's going to be fraud on that account.
Really?
And even goes so far as the card will be cloned and cash taken out from a bank somewhere after using my card at that particular location. So I go in there and I mentioned to the guy behind the counter, "Do you realize that people, when they put their card into your paying device here, it's being read and just bring fraud?" He just so just goes, "Yeah." Yeah. Now, here's another perfect example of businessman stupidity with me being the stupid person. I had a business bank account with a lot of money in it, thankfully, that I only used for one thing. And it was paying for hotels.
Yeah.
That's all I used it for. And so, because I only used it for paying for hotels, and I knew because that's what I was staying in them almost all the time, I didn't bother to look at my bank statement religiously every month. After a couple of months, I pull up my bank statement. I expect to see, Hilton Garden and Hilton, blah, blah, blah. But I'm $15,000 short.
Oh.
$15,000.
Burl, that's a good Tuesday for you.
Yes, that's a good Tuesday for me, yeah. Only $15,000 short. There was $15,000 in fraud committed on my Banner bank account, and I tracked out where it was coming from. I had stayed at a very popular, nice boutique hotel in Los Angeles that had an ATM in the parking lot.
Oh my God!
That's where the card was read, and from that, I just tracked it for the first time. I used that on thing. That's where $15,000 went. The only two problems with it, I got the $15,000 back from the bank. Of course, they kicked me out. So they canceled my account. It had nothing to do with me.
Yep.
You know. Anyway, so they, of course, canceled my account. Now, just recently, I had fraud again on my Chase Bank account. I think once you've been hit, I think they all share various ways of information of getting in your accounts or your security breaches.
That's called the dark web.
Yeah. I had my digital profile compromised, and man, you want to talk about weeks worth of work.
A nightmare.
Yeah.
A nightmare.
Yeah, it is. It's a lot of work and you have to get whole new accounts and all that other stuff, and it is a mess. You know, you had mentioned, Burl, the Cash App card. I don't know if you saw and this is getting a little bit off the subject, but not really. Did you see the story about the Cash App founder, Bob Lee, and all the stuff that they're coming up with now, the stuff in his background? Like about the...
No, but nothing would surprise me except for the fact that if you have any problem with your Cash App card, we only have a bot. We don't have any human being customer service.
Yep. The founder is just as shady as some of the operations going on at Cash App. I mean, they're saying that Bob Lee himself attended underground sex parties and drug parties.
That sounds fine to me. I don't care about that. I just care about if, you know.
You just want the app to work.
I just want the app. The app works fine. I love the app.
Okay.
That's a good Saturday for you.
I should be so lucky. Really. You know, I mean, good heavens. I saw on TV this guy who puts on these very, shall we say, high-end, no pun intended, sex parties. Got to be in tuxedos and all that. Mm-hmm. And they do them here in L.A. and New York and here and there. And celebrities go to them. Turned out a good mutual friend of ours, Leonard Bouchel, is not shy about sharing this. A wonderful guy. Mm-hmm. He got invited to go by the guy who puts these on. He had to wear a tuxedo. But, you know, I guess he could have it dry cleaned. He had a wonderful time.
I guess he could have it dry cleaned.
It was a lovely. There were movie stars there. You know, it was delightful. And live entertainment. There's also bargain basement versions of that sort of thing where you don't have to wear a tuxedo.
Well,
which is good.
Everybody has a price point, Burl. That's why. You know,
everyone has their price point. Looks like how I met Fred. It's the honest to God truth that I met Fred through an ad in Craigslist. And Fred will vouch for that.
Well, you know, everybody's got to advertise. You know, I've got my ads out there too. So, you know,
it just depends on what category you're in. Whether it's writers wanted or escorts wanted. I was looking for a good used escort with a plush interior. I got all sorts of responses, but none of them were cars.
Oh, Burl.
Yeah.
All right. With that, we should probably with that
was a good Friday for me. Yeah.
That was a good Friday for you. You have a lot of good days, Burl, I'll tell you.
Yeah, I sure do, yeah.
That's for sure. Fred, you have a lot of good days.
No, I don't have that many good days.
No, well, you probably should hang out with Burl more often, I think, is probably the deal there.
Yeah, he doesn't need to lose any more money. The rate of bank fraud on my account since I'll give you the guy's name. This is a great story. Frank Harris III committed an identity theft on me at bank fraud, and he went to prison. And then he escaped from prison by stealing the identity of another prisoner who was up for parole.
Oh my God! Really?
Yeah, and he would have got away with it and made tracks to the border, but he hung around town for another week to try to pull another financial scam at Western Union, and they caught him, put him back in prison, and then a few years later, he did it again, escaped by stealing the identity of another prisoner. Now, in America, that adds 15 years to your sentence every time you escape. In the south of the border, the law is entirely different. They figure that it's perfectly natural for you to escape because human beings aren't meant to be locked up. And so let's say you're serving 20 years, you escape, and they catch you 19 years later, you only have to do that 1 year.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh. Interesting.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know who's got it better. I mean, obviously for the criminal, it's better down south, but
yeah.
I think for our system, it might be a little bit better.
Yeah. Well, tell people the book is entertaining.
Yes, yes.
The book is also fun. It's a fun book, too.
It is. So we can get Fred some more money so he can hang out with you, Burl. Let's talk about Secrets of a Hollywood Private Eye.
A week with Burl, yeah. That's better than going to work for the government.
That's right. It is. It's better than going to work for the government. That's right. A rollicking, no-holds-barred expose of Tinseltown. It's available right now on WildBlue Press and wildbluepress.com. Fred, real quick before we leave people today, I promised people about Flip Wilson. I know we talked about it off air, but please tell people how you met Flip Wilson and what you did for him.
I was working in New Jersey at the time, and Flip was appearing at the Latin Casino in New Jersey. I don't know if you know of that.
I'm not familiar.
In New Jersey?
I'm a Midwest kid, so I'm not really.
Oh,
no.
okay.
Mm-hmm.
So he was appearing there, and I had known some people who worked on the show, and I called the Latin Casino and told them that I was, I don't remember, Chuck Lally was calling, and give Flip my number, and when he gets back, tell him to give me a call. And they did. All of a sudden, the phone rings and says, Chuck, what's going on? I said, I'm sorry for the scam, Mr. Wilson. I said, my name's Fred Wolfson, and I've been writing stuff for you, and I can't get through to you. I figured the only way to get through to you was by playing a little game. I'm sorry for that. And he says, anybody with that kind of brain I got to read what they got. So I said, I've got 2 shows that I wrote for you. And he said, come down tomorrow night and bring the shows with me, and we'll talk. Well, just so happens it was Sammy Davis Jr.'s birthday, and Sammy was there, and Muhammad Ali was there, and Flip was there, and it was like I was 21 at the time, so I was blown away.
Yeah.
He read my 2 things that I wrote, and he thought they were funny. He said, I'd like to hire you, but I can't hire you full time. I can hire you as a stringer, I guess it's called. You submit stuff to me, and if I use it, I'll pay you. So I said, fine. So I did a couple things that he used. I did a thing on his album that goes, I don't have the voice anymore, but it goes, if you can fly this plane 4,000 miles in the dark and find Los Angeles, you can find my bag.
That's pretty good. Well, Fred, that's amazing. I've always been a huge Flip Wilson fan. I told you on the phone when I talked to you earlier that as a kid, maybe I was a weird kid. I had taste in Rolling Stones and Flip Wilson and all other kinds of things. As a kid, I actually had a Geraldine doll, a Flip Wilson on one side, Geraldine on the other. You pulled the string, it either talked in Flip's voice or Geraldine's voice.
Wow.
Yeah. So, and I watched.
I had a Barger Lewis hand puppet.
You want to hear an interesting story?
Yeah, please.
Yeah.
I was 21 when I met him originally. Then in 1995, I think, or maybe, I think it was 95, I get a call from an attorney who somebody needed a polygraph done. who was it? Foot.
Really?
Yeah. So I went out to his Malibu home and ran a polygraph on one of his workers at the house and got a confession for him.
Really?
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah. True story.
Wow. Now, I mean, did he, it sounds stupid to say, but did he remember you? He had to have remembered you, right?
I showed him the picture where he wrote the turtle won the race on the back of the picture. I got a picture of him and he said, oh, yeah, I kind of remember, but he really didn't. It was 1,000 years ago. So.
Yeah.
But it's ironic that I should meet him twice in a lifetime.
Yeah, but still a good...
Hey, Brad, I was watching Rodney Dangerfield on The Tonight Show, and he did one of your jokes.
Oh, about the standing in line at the supermarket?
Supermarket in Vegas, yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead, tell it.
Oh, I don't remember it that well.
Burl's like, I saw it, but I don't remember it.
I hear so much about the lottery and everything. Everybody's winning millions of dollars on the lottery. So I go and I give them $2 and they send me a receipt. I owe them $40.
No, wasn't that what was a slot machine? It comes up something to do with the slot machines that you have in the supermarkets in Las Vegas. I remember you told me the joke that I turned on TV. And there's Rodney telling the joke.
Yeah, he paid me $250 for that.
Wait,
I remember. He was a nice man.
$250 or $2.50? Which one?
$250.
Okay, good. I was going to say, I hope you don't work cheap, Fred. That's for sure.
No.
Okay, good. Well, the name of the book, again, Secrets of a Hollywood Private Eye, a rollicking, no-holds-barred expose of Tinseltown by Fred Wolfson and Burl Barer. Guys, again, a great book, an informative book. I want people to go out and get it. WildBluePress.com. We'll have a link in the description of this program. Guys, thanks so much for joining us here on True Crime Tuesday.
No,
Thank you for having me.
All right. Folks, stay right there. We're going to lighten, not like we haven't lightened it up already, but we're going to lighten it up even more. It's time for us now to dive into dumb crimes and stupid criminals.
It's Crayon News story time.
What happened with this dude, Christ Bearer? I heard he cut his penis off and then jumped off a balcony.
Suspect pulls gun from butt, shoots twice at Denver police.
What is your emergency?
I need help.
And what's the problem?
I'm too high.
You're too high?
Yeah.
It's that time you've all been waiting for. It's that time once again on True Crime Tuesday where we do dumb crimes, stupid criminals. And for that, we need a co-host. Let's get that co-host with the most. He's known as the BCB, the Big Cuddly Bear, Beer City Bruiser. Bruiser, how you doing?
Oh, I'm doing fantastic. I'm dealing with a little criminal here in the household.
What? Who's the criminal?
Little Talia is a criminal mastermind. Oh.
What? What is Talia doing?
She's living up to the name Talia al Ghul, I'll tell you that much.
Yeah?
So we have gates put up so our cat Bruiser can have rooms to himself.
Okay.
And you can hear Talia barking in the background.
Yeah, she doesn't like something. What did you do to her? Did you put her...
Well, no, I put a gate up between Bruiser and her.
Okay.
Because Bruiser's not scared of her because they're the same size.
Right, okay.
Bruiser doesn't like Ziggy because Ziggy's 50 pounds.
Oh, gotcha. Right.
Well, Talia has now figured out if she nudges a certain corner on the gate, it moves the gate and she's able to get in and chase the cat around.
Oh, I gotcha. I see. So, you know, Talia might make a little noise while we're doing this. It's not a big deal. Bruiser, this weekend, I saw the greatest crime known to humanity.
Okay.
It happened. Now, you know, okay, I'm going to take a little sidetrack here. Just a small sidetrack. We'll get to dumb crimes, stupid criminals in just a moment. You are a parent, my friend.
I am.
You have been involved in sports your entire life.
I have.
Now, when we sit and watch our kids play sports, we all say to ourselves, oh, that referee is so crooked.
Oh, yeah. Are you going with the New Jersey thing here I think you're going with?
Which New Jersey thing?
Well, you finish your story, and if it's not the same, I'll tell you.
Oh,
what
no, I assure you it's not. Now, in amateur sports, there's this new edict, respect the refs. It's even on signage. They now put signage up at amateur ball games. Respect
Parents
the refs.
have to sign a waiver.
Yes.
Saying you will not cheer too loud or disparage anyone on the field. I had to sign that for both my son and daughter, and I was kicked out of many wrestling meets because I didn't follow said waiver.
Right. Well, you know what? I got a reason to call bullshit on it right now.
Okay.
Are you ready for this? Yeah. I witnessed, along with about 150 people, the most crooked, on purpose, crooked referee you'll ever see in your life, who purposely threw a hockey game for one team.
Really?
Everybody will attest to it. Everybody will swear to it in a court of law.
He was paid off, you think, huh?
He was not only paid off, he was throwing it for the team that organized the tournament this weekend. I was at the National Sports Center in Blaine, Minnesota, the new super rink that holds 8 rinks, with 2 of them which are Olympic size. I think 2 of them or 4 of them are Olympic size sheets of ice. I'm not going to name the name of the team that my nephew plays on because I don't want to get them in any hot water. But I'll just say they were playing for a third place because there's different brackets. They were playing for a third place game.
Okay.
This referee was working for the team that organized the tournament. So you can put dates together and look it up if you want. You can do the sleuthing if you'd like.
Right.
Okay. Now, there is a delicate balance between respecting referees and referees making honest mistakes. Okay.
It happens. It happens.
It does
all the
happen.
time. It does.
And you know what? You can be upset with it. That's fine. A lot of us get upset at honest mistakes and we kind of bite our tongues and we don't say anything. And that's fine. We all make mistakes. We're all human. That happens. But you hope they even it out down the line. And a lot of referees do. They even it out down the line. Everything's fine. And you know what? You play through those human mistakes that referees make.
Of course.
That's fine. The referees really don't decide a hockey match, a baseball game, a football game. It's the play on the field that decides it. This game was not decided by the players in the rink. As a matter of
by that one referee.
It was decided by that one referee. Want to know how I know, Bruiser? This is how. Because in that game, there were 4 instances where this referee kept calling so many penalties on our players. There were 4 instances where there were 5-on-3 power plays. For 11-year-old players, 10 and 11 and 12-year-old players, how do you have 4 different situations in 45 minutes of hockey?
You don't.
Where there are 5-on-3 power plays, including multiple majors.
Yeah, that doesn't happen. Not in Pee Wee League.
No.
I mean, they're not even allowed to check, for God's sake.
Right, but he was calling slashing. He was calling hooking.
What?
He was calling all different types of weird penalties on our team, majors on our team for lipping off. One kid said, this was what got him a major. He said, say that one more time and I'm giving you a major. He said, say what? And he just turned around to like, I don't know what you're telling me what I'm saying. And he threw him in the penalty box for a 5-minute major.
And then didn't come over and explain to him why he's in there, did he?
Nope. Yeah. The other team was boarding our kids. In other words, for those of you who don't know what hockey is, so 2 kids skate down to the end boards. And the other kid runs a kid into the boards and runs them along the boards and injures them. Okay? It's like checking a kid repeatedly into the boards.
And it's illegal in Pee Wee League.
It's illegal in Pee Wee League. And they were continuously injuring our kids. There must have been 7 or 8 kids that got injured during this game. Okay? Now,
which is very rare for a Pee Wee Hockey League. Now, tournament play, yeah, you get injuries, but not 7 or 8 kids.
No. Now, there were 2 that got injured on their side, but that's because our team decided, hey, if they're going to do it, we're going to do it.
Yeah, play dirty back.
That's right. So at that point, it got ridiculous. It got so ridiculous, our coach got thrown out in the middle of the second period because he started yelling and went on a tirade on the referee because he had been asking the referee the entire time, hey, can we get some help over here? Why aren't you calling anything on the other team?
So he's a good coach. He stood up for his players.
He stood up for his players.
Because he knew his players couldn't do it because they get majors, so he stood up. That's a good coach.
That's right.
That's a really good coach.
And he kept pointing out penalties that weren't being called on the other team. The other team was cross-checking in the back on open breakaways.
Which is illegal in the NHL.
That's right. No calls. They were tripping, hooking, cross-checking when our team was breaking away on the goalie. No calls. Nothing. Right?
Yeah.
Blatant calls. Plus, Bruce, are you ready for this? This is the one that'll get you. Are you ready for this?
Yeah.
The final score of the game was 5-0. This referee, this crooked head referee, waved off 2 legitimate goals, including one at the end of the game you can't deny, which was a 10 or 15 foot slap shot that ripped the back of the net.
And he threw it out, huh?
He threw it out and called an imaginary penalty. He pointed at some kid who was 20 feet away and called him for an imaginary penalty. And the kid looked at him like, there's nobody around me.
This kid over here picked on the invisible man.
Yep.
It's a major, goals taken away.
That's right. And he took away the goal.
Oh,
and
terrible.
There was only like 45 seconds in the game.
Yeah, and they're not going to lose anyways with 1 goal.
Right.
You did your job. But he had money on the game. He had money on the game.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. And on a clean shutout at that. and you know, our parents are very good parents. And normally
I wouldn't have been in that situation. I would have been kicked out with the coach.
And our team is not our team. You know, they're not an elite team. They don't win a lot of games, but they did very well in this tournament. They had fun, that's the whole point of hockey. Oh, they did.
Like at 11 years old, you're not going to be Wayne Gretzky,
right? And
Wayne Gretzky wasn't Wayne Gretzky at 11,
right? And this team, they work hard, but they're not great at fundamentals and all that other stuff. My nephew won't mind me saying this. They're not great at fundamentals, but they work hard. They work hard.
Good. Yeah.
But this was the biggest kick in the balls any kid could ever have. But you know something? Out of those 4 5-on-3 situations, the first one that they were faced with, they worked their way through it and they killed that penalty. But when you do it 3 more times, they got scored on those 3 times.
Well, you're going to get tired.
Yeah, they were down only 2-0 when that referee started throwing these situations at them.
Yeah.
That was it. And
it's a shame that this guy did that because that ruined that tournament for those kids. Those kids were having fun.
Yeah.
And like you said, they didn't get beat by the other team.
Yep.
They didn't get beat because they got outplayed. That's the worst kind of loss is when you don't get outplayed.
Yeah.
And you lose. Yeah. Like I've had losses where in high school, in order to go to the state tournament, we had to beat our rivals. And it literally was a movie situation. Pouring rain. We have a backup quarterback in. You know, it's 6-0 them. We're on the goal line, ready to go. 2 seconds left in the game, and our quarterback throws an interception.
Yep.
And we lose.
Yep.
And we got on the bus, and they had lit fire extinguishers on our bus. We had to wait. So there we are, sitting in the rain. Seniors' last game of the year. You know what I mean? But like Coach told us in the post-match, you guys played a hell of a game. They just played that much better. On this particular day, they were the better team. Doesn't take anything away from us. In this situation, you can't say that to these kids. You can flat out tell these, hey, you guys lost because that guy.
Not only our parents, but our coach showed incredible restraint. I tell you, I'll just say this to every single athletic association out there. You can scream it to the mountaintops. You can say respect our refs. You can say, you know what, we have a hard time getting referees because of the attitude of a few shitty parents. That's fine. But you know what? When you have crooked assholes like this, there's a reason why parents scream at games.
Yep.
It's not that they're screaming at their kids to do better. You do have asshole parents that do that. Don't get me wrong. You do have parents that are too involved, and you have parents that are too harsh on their kids. But the fact of the matter remains, is that you do have asshole referees like this that are working your systems and get a power rush out of controlling games like this.
And they worry why youth sports are going away.
Yeah.
You know, can you imagine? I bet you at least 4 or 5 of those kids on your nephew's team don't come back next year.
Probably not. No. Mm-mm.
You know, you could have just taken away the next Mario Lemieux.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And
yeah.
I'll say this. You are goddamn lucky that somebody didn't either beat the crap or kill this ref at the end of the game or light his car on fire or do something that would have caused a felony. That's not a threat. I'm just saying you're lucky because there's one parent that was sitting to my left who has a hair trigger like you wouldn't believe. Like
that's me.
He screams at his kid. His kid was slamming his stick the entire time. And the kid was lucky. He only got a 2-minute penalty out of the entire game, out of 45 minutes. For some reason, this asshole ref only got it once. Well, yeah, he's frustrated. This kid has a hair trigger like his dad. But the coach sat him because he wouldn't stop slamming his stick. But regardless, the fact of the matter is you're lucky. You're goddamn lucky that those parents let you walk out of that place with all of your bones intact.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to get 1,000 emails probably saying you're out of line, Tim. No. You had to be there.
Yeah.
You had to be there.
You know when there's a fix in.
That's right.
It's not hard to see.
I will stick up for every referee in this country that works hard, does a good job, and makes honest mistakes. Because you know what? I make mistakes in my job. Everybody makes mistakes in their job. I love referees. I love the fact, you know what? I was an umpire. I was a baseball umpire for a few years. I went out, I worked hard for very little money because I love the game of baseball, and I wanted to go out there and work for kids and help kids and foster the game of baseball. That's what I wanted to do. But the fact of the matter remains is that there are referees out there that just can't do the job, or they do it and they do it for a power rush, and we need to get rid of them.
Yeah.
Enough said.
Well, going along your lines of the parents with the referee, what I thought you were going to talk about was in New Jersey. They just passed something where Little League parents, if you're caught heckling the umpire for his calls, as a parent, you have to come and now umpire 3 innings.
Oh, that's fine. Yeah.
Yeah, which I thought was great because I've heckled umps, because you try to get under their skin. It could be a good call. I mean, like you said, there's mistakes made.
Yeah.
And there's clearly balls that are balls and strikes that are strikes, but they call it the other way. It happens.
Sure.
But I love this because I've seen parents get really upset, and go at them. And I like when you go. Now you got to do it for 3 innings. See how it is.
Yeah. Absolutely. And I think parents should. I think parents that are overly vocal should go and put, especially in baseball, should go put that mask on and should go put that chest protector on and go try it for themselves. Yeah. Especially in high school when they get really riled up. Go track an 85-mile-an-hour fastball. Yep. See if you can do it, or even a changeup or a curve, and see if you can do it. See if you can call it accurately. I bet you can.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Let's see how good your vision is.
Yep.
Yeah. But that's we've gone on for quite a while. But it's
either way. Let kids be kids and have fun, and
that's right.
Get your power play somewhere else with adults.
That's right. Let these kids go out there and be safe and have fun. That's
the whole point. Is you want them to be safe, have fun, and learn something that could benefit them in the future.
There were some kids out there that were getting some major injuries on Sunday, and on Mother's Day of all days. On Mother's Day, we're getting major injuries, and God damn it, that shouldn't happen.
Yeah.
Yeah. It just pissed me off. It pissed me off so bad.
Oh, I don't blame you.
Yeah. So that's where I'll end my rant, but it was just, they should be ashamed of themselves. The organizers of the tournament should be ashamed of themselves for hiring that referee.
Because there's a tournament representative watching that game. They have to be.
You would think.
They should have said something right then and there. You're making our tournament look bad.
Yeah, you would think, but who knows? Maybe they wanted their team to win something in that tournament. Who knows? I don't know. Yeah. Let's get on with Dumb Crime, Stupid Criminals here. You know what? We're going to start out a little serious, and not like we haven't, but we're going to start a little serious, and we're going to talk about Jack the Ripper today. And the story that was sent to me the most this past week, Bruiser, is trying to get people to get me to dislike one of my favorite restaurants. One of my favorite fast food restaurants. People have a mixed opinion about one of my favorite fast food restaurants I know, but by gosh, I've liked it since I was a kid. We're going to talk about that as well today. Also, there's some not safe for work stories at the end here, Bruiser. Let's jump into it. Let's get going, shall we? Let's talk about Jack the Ripper. There was a story last week, Bruiser, that Jack the Ripper was a Met police officer after murderous revenge. Have you seen this story?
I haven't seen that. The latest I've heard on Jack the Ripper is he was H.H. Holmes. There's a timeline where they think H.H. Holmes was Jack the Ripper.
Yeah, so we've had that relative on the show and is a good friend of ours. But this one is another theory, and we'll just recap this very quickly. There's dozens of those theories out there about the identity of the Whitechapel serial killer, but the latest one, maybe the strangest yet, Jack the Ripper was an embittered Met police officer, believe it or not. That's the shocking new theory. Historian Rod Beatty has spent 20 years trawling through National Archives, putting together his case that the infamous serial killer was an aggrieved police constable. He believes that Bowden Endicott, a reserve officer who patrolled the streets of Whitechapel in London, was responsible for the notorious murders. Now, this guy had surgical precision.
Yeah, cops don't have surgical precision.
Right. Well, unless they're really good with that billy club. This to me seems like it's out there.
I think this is just another stretch, just to throw another conspiracy theory in the fire.
Exactly. Let's find out a little bit more here. Mr. Beatty, who's 72 years old, pointed out to Endicott's dark history with prostitutes that caused him to erupt into a frenzy of murderous revenge after one of the women ruined his career. The Birmingham-based researcher said, "I was reading an article about the Endicott case, and I suddenly had a eureka moment. What stronger motivation could there be than your career being ruined?" Endicott had form in previous police jobs before moving to London, where he was convicted of perjury on a woman's evidence. 5 women, Marianne Nichols, Annie Chapman, Elizabeth Stride, Catherine Eddowes, and Mary Jane Kelly, were all killed between August 31st of 1888 and November 9th of 1888. Several other women had been suggested as potential victims. The Ripper murders have fascinated many researchers, and there are dozens of rival theories about the serial killer's identity. Perhaps the most controversial of all of these, and the theory, is that it was a member of the royal family, Prince Albert Victor. No, you can't find him in a can. Grandson of Queen Victoria and second in line for the British crown. That was behind the unsolved murders of at least 5 prostitutes in London's East End. Dr. Thomas Stowell said that Prince Albert committed the gruesome killings in which the women's throats were slit and internal organs removed after being driven mad by syphilis. Again, though, with surgical precision.
Yeah.
A royal who might have had some schooling, but again, a royal who you really would have had to have some schooling. Aaron Kosminski, a barber originally from Poland who immigrated to the UK in the 1880s, has also been suggested as a suspect for grisly murders. That's a little more on task. TV criminologist Professor David Wilson used modern techniques to pinpoint Kosminski as the culprit. Professor Wilson says Kosminski's name was in the frame at the time of the Jack the Ripper murders. He was named by a couple of senior police officers, and if we take their evidence and apply that to a number of modern criminological techniques...
That's a big word.
That is. Kosminski is front and center as being the likely perpetrator. James Maybrick, the cotton salesman from Liverpool, actually confessed to the killings in a diary that was discovered in 1992.
Yeah, but I think he was just trying to play a joke is what they proved it. That he wasn't, there was no way he could have been the killer.
Right. Let's move on. Let's go here to Minnesota. I don't know, Minnesota, you know. I don't know if you remember this story, but there's... we'll just say it anyways. This is kind of gruesome, folks. This isn't kind of a ha-ha type of story, but it's unusual. It truly is a dumb crime because this man just totally lost his senses and didn't care if he got caught or not.
That's scary.
Yeah. The scariest type of crime is one where people just don't care if they get caught. A Minnesota man is convicted of beheading his girlfriend and leaving her body in the street.
Ooh.
Yes, this happened a while ago, but he just got convicted of this past week. A judge has found a 42-year-old man guilty of killing his girlfriend in a brutal and vicious attack by beheading her with a machete in front of several onlookers nearly 2 years ago.
And it's not one swipe the head comes off like you see in the movies,
right.
Especially with a machete. That's a hack job.
Yes, exactly. Well, so to speak. According to the verdict shared by KMSP TV, First Judicial District Judge Caroline Lennon convicted Alexis Sabarit of first-degree premeditated murder for the death of 55-year-old America Thayer. Sabarit opted for a bench trial rather than a jury trial, which basically just says, hey, I did it. You go ahead and decide my fate.
Yep.
Yeah, I think he knew he was screwed, which left the verdict in Lennon's hands. On July 28th, 2021, Shakopee Police Department officers responded to a stabbing call near 4th Avenue and Spencer Street and found Thayer deceased on the sidewalk. Officers located Sabarit nearby and apprehended him. Police said the killing wasn't a random act.
Really, he planned it.
He planned it. On the day of the stabbing, Sabarit was reportedly supposed to appear in court for a hearing at 1 p.m.
On the day of the murder?
Yeah.
So what, do you need a ride?
We'll find out. An hour later, Sabarit, Thayer, and a friend were driving in Thayer's car, and she reportedly got upset because Sabarit wouldn't attend the court hearing. Thayer and Sabarit started arguing in Spanish, and he reportedly told the friend to get out of the car. At 2:31 p.m., a witness called police to report a man pulled a body out of his car, and it had no head.
Ooh,
jeez. According to the verdict, the witness saw Sabarit chopping at something in the car with a huge knife, then tossing the knife on the grass. Sabarit took what looks like a head with hair out of the car, threw it on the ground, and then pulled the body out of the car.
Oh, geez.
Yeah. Several other witnesses described the same scene to police. When police got to the scene, they found Thayer's head approximately 2 feet from the body. The verdict statement said her bra and shirt were found nearby. Police searched inside the car and found slash marks and blood spatter throughout the interior. They also located a dumbbell with blood stains and clumps of human hair similar to Thayer's hair. Jesus.
So he beat her with the dumbbell first.
Yeah, that had to be a horrible death.
Yeah. I want to know why he took off her bra and shirt.
Humiliation.
That's true, yeah.
Yep, it was humiliation. Investigators discovered a machete on a nearby lawn and bloody clothing in a trash can. While at the police station, Sabarit told detectives Thayer wanted to get rid of him and didn't want to have anything to do with me anymore.
Okay, so break up, move on.
Yep. Sabarit said he was really mad and he did it in self-defense. That is not self-defense.
Nope.
That is rage.
Yep.
Thayer and Sabarit had been in a relationship for several years and were living together at a local travel lodge, though he claimed she tried to send someone to kill him. Several of Thayer's friends and family members noted her relationship with Sabarit was abusive and controlling. She also reportedly told friends she was scared of him. Folks, there's a time where you just need to ask for help.
Yep.
Yeah.
Fine. There's people out there that will help you. Even if you don't know them, there's ways of getting help. Get out of the domestic situation.
Yeah, and professional help. You can get professional help to get out of these situations as well.
Yeah, there's people trained to get you out.
Yes, yeah. Judge Lennon determined Sabarit acted with intent and premeditation when he killed Thayer. Lennon wrote, the defendant's assault on Thayer was brutal and vicious. Sabarit has a review hearing scheduled for June 1st. I hope he goes away for a very, very long time, and I hope somebody abuses the hell out of him in prison.
I agree. 100%.
Yeah. Here's a story that everybody had to email me. They had to try and kill my love for this restaurant, Bruce. It's a fast food restaurant that I hold so high above everything else. Do you know what this restaurant is?
I have a feeling I know. Is it Arby's?
Yes.
Okay.
I love me some Arby's.
Yeah.
I love it more than anything.
I just had Arby's the other day.
Did you? What'd you get?
Yeah. Those new sliders they got. They got those. I don't know if they got them up by you, but those new barbecue sliders.
Yes. Yeah. What'd you think of them?
I love them. Oh. I love the regular sliders. Their barbecue, the Carolina barbecue they put on there. Whew.
Yeah. So good. It's so good. That bourbon barbecue. Oh.
That's what it is. Bourbon barbecue. Yeah.
Yeah. Bourbon barbecue is so good. Shame on you people for trying to kill my love of Arby's.
Yeah, please don't kill our love.
Speaking of killing things in Arby's, let's read this story. A female employee of an Arby's restaurant in New Iberia, Louisiana, was discovered in the fast food restaurant's freezer on Thursday evening of last week, according to the New Iberia Police Department. It was around 6:20 p.m. when authorities received the report of a dead body found in the freezer of the 1120 East Admiral Doyle Drive location. Officers...
Well, they do have the meats.
No, God, see. Actually, it should be Arby's. We have the bodies. Yeah.
No matter what meat you're craving, we have it for you.
Slice a little off his ass, won't you? Officers in a Acadian ambulance were dispatched to the scene, said police. When first responders arrived, they found the woman inside a walk-in freezer showing no signs of life. According to KLFY, the woman was a manager at the Arby's restaurant.
Hopefully she was packaged well. Otherwise, she's going to have a lot of freezer burn and does not taste good.
Oh, gosh. You know, I haven't looked at DoorDash lately to see if they have that new sandwich, the Dahmer. Just saying.
What year was like that freezer made? Because nowadays you can't lock yourself in freezers. They have the push thing.
Right.
Yeah. So I'm wondering what year this Arby's was built.
I don't know. Maybe they had her tied up in the freezer. Let's see. Yeah. In addition to police, the Iberia Parish Coroner's Office responded to the scene where it pronounced the female deceased. While she has been identified as an employee of the restaurant, the identity of the female will not be released at this time, police said Friday. That's because she'll be on the menu Monday. I did a stutter shot there. This matter remains under investigation and no foul play is suspected at this time, the department added. Due to this being an ongoing investigation, no further details will be released at this time. This isn't the first time a body has been found in a commercial freezer. There was one at McDonald's last week.
No. That was somebody trying to get the McRib back.
Oh, come on. Don't pick on two good sources in one story. In 2017, the body of a 19-year-old Kenika Jenkins was found in the freezer at the Crown Plaza Hotel in Rosemont, Illinois, just outside of Chicago. So please don't order the prime rib at the Crown Plaza.
I've wrestled there.
Have you?
Yeah. And I think I had roast beef there.
Don't get the French dip. You might end up with a Frenchman.
What year? Again, what year are these freezers?
Right. Would you like to work out of our freezer that was built in 1948?
Make sure you take the turkey. You prop open the door. You don't want to be locked in here.
That's right.
That's how we lost old Louise.
We call this brick Old Freezy because if you don't put it in the door, you's going to be a freezy. I don't know. Over the years, there have been many deaths of people who have been locked inside a freezer. How? Like Bruiser said, how? Just push
over the years, the 1950s.
Yeah, exactly. Over the last, 50, 60 years maybe. Just push the goddamn plunger. Push it. They tell you that the second day of training. The first day of training, they want to see if you'll lock yourself in. The second day, they'll say, push the plunger. They call it hazing.
See what kind of dumbass we hired today.
Exactly. Hey, dumbass, push that thing. Push it. What? You're getting too stiff? Too freezy? Do this.
What if she went in there to get high and got too high and was so comfortable?
Little Afro Man action because I got high.
I tried to leave the freezer and then I got high.
I tried to leave the Arby's freezer because I got high.
Ended up freezing in a popsicle form because I got high.
Ended up with a stomach full of curly fries. And now you know why. Why is that? Because I got high. Because I got high. Because I got high.
That brings up a question I have here. So in North Carolina, car washes are open year round. Mm-hmm. Where do the employees go to smoke, to toke up?
Oh, that's a good question.
Remember, I was in high school. That's what everybody wanted was a car wash.
Yeah.
But now it's open. You know, we did it in the wintertime. Now it's open 24 hours.
Oh, yeah.
Every single day. What are they doing in Carolina? Well, obviously the freezer in Louisiana.
Is that why my roast beef is always smoked at Arby's? And my
That's why you
glaucoma.
love Arby's so much. You keep getting hungrier and hungrier every time you eat their meat.
And my glaucoma is gone? Huh. Interesting.
You're pain free all of a sudden. You're like, wow, I love Arby's.
I move like an NFL wide receiver now.
Well, you did hear that Snoop Dogg bought some in stock in Arby's.
Did he?
Yeah.
By the way, the journal, the journal in Topics, which is quoting the fact that over the years have been many deaths of people who have been locked inside the freezer, also said they normally die of extreme cold, inhaling lethal fumes, or of suffocation. That's like saying, I wonder if I can get roast beef at Arby's.
Wait a minute, you get cold in the freezer?
No.
What kind of freezer are you going into?
You can die of cold in the freezer. Yeah, and guess what? You can't get real roast beef at Arby's. Did I ever tell you my grandpa Dennis had the worst problem with Arby's?
No.
Yeah, but funny, you remember the Rax restaurants?
Oh, no, that I don't. That was before my time.
That was before your time? Okay. So he loved Rax because he thought Rax used real roast beef. But he didn't like
Rax.
Yeah. But he didn't like Arby's because they used that pressed beef shit. You know how it's the beef loaf, if you will.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, the loaf of beef.
It's the spam of roast beef.
Yes, it's the spam of roast beef, but they shave it to make it kind of feel like it's roast beef.
And they pile it so it looks...
Yeah, so it looks like roast
beefy.
But it's not. It's beef loaf.
Yeah.
The beefy loaf. Yeah, my grandpa hated it. I love the taste of it, but I know that it's probably, I don't know, it's probably people, for all I know, that are... It's probably...
Soylent Green.
Yeah, it's employees they leave locked in the freezer. I don't know. But it's delicious nonetheless. So
Soylent Green is Arby's employees.
No. We should probably do some other food stories here. I probably shouldn't do the story I have pulled up next. It's a killer. I mean, not a killer, but it's a mood killer. Yeah, let me do some other food stories here. I have other food stories pulled up here. They say when you're here, you're family, but not like, hey, family. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
You know where I'm talking about, right?
Yeah, one of the worst restaurants ever.
No, what? Are we going to agree to disagree here?
I used to love this restaurant, if it's the one I'm thinking of, and then I started traveling with Brian Malonis, and he pointed out a lot of really good facts.
Oh, okay, we'll talk about that after I get done with this story. A teacher pointed a gun at his wife after she didn't invite him to Olive Garden. This happening in Florida, of course. We're going to Florida, Bruiser. Well, when you're family, you're family.
If you're going to Olive Garden, I'm going too. All you can eat.
Listen, you don't take me to Olive Garden, I'm going to take you to the heavens. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to put you in the ground. A high school teacher pointed a gun at his wife after he showed up drunk to his daughter's track meet. Oh, good. There's Father of the Year for you. Father of the Year.
Hey, Bill, good seeing Dirt Happy Hour. Thank you so much. I love being here. What are your plans today? 3 o'clock and go to my daughter's track meet. It's 3:05. I'll see you fellas later. Let me grab my gun. I'll be gone.
By the way, I brought the starter pistol. It's loaded. And by the way, he pointed a gun at his wife after he showed up drunk to his daughter's track meet and wasn't invited to dinner at Olive Garden. That may be because you're drunk.
Yeah.
You started.
He's probably like, hey, I need the wine. They have a fantastic wine list at the Olive Garden.
He started without everybody. Yeah. Normally you wait till you get to the restaurant to start drinking. He started without everybody.
We're going back to the Olive Garden? What do you mean going back?
Yeah. I was there earlier. The man who's listed as a social studies teacher at a Pensacola high school, well, that's why he's drinking. went to his
And carrying a gun.
Yeah, and come on,
sorry.
Come on, Bruiser.
That was a bad taste. Bad form.
That is horrible. Went to
Dirty fool.
Yes, it was. Now you're going to get a bunch of emails. Went to his daughter's track meet drunk on May 4th, according to an arrest report. I'm in the Italian mood. I'm talking like Father Guido Sarducci or the Pope.
Hey, he was a big Star Wars fan and took Star Wars Day seriously, all right?
That's right. By the way, do you think the Pope enjoys a good Olive Garden salad?
No.
No? Okay. Just wondering.
Because Olive Garden is an Italian food.
Wow.
Oh, yeah. Malonis he's going to be so proud of me.
Wow.
So I used to love it. Now yeah.
Just.
And my daughter is marrying an Italian, like, he's like second generation full-blooded Italian. So
yeah. So he loves Olive Garden.
No. His mother threatened to castrate him when they opened one up a couple blocks away. And what's funny is that used to be my daughter's favorite restaurant.
Oh, really? So she's like, let's have the reception at Olive Garden. He's like, no, can do. No, Mama will cut the balls off, but we don't have a kid. So. Yeah, probably not a good idea.
Johnny's going to love that that's his accent now.
yeah, he's going to be like, Jesus, I don't talk like that.
I told her to put you on the list for people to invite to the wedding. No, I can't wait for you to accept it and show up. Like, Johnny, my boy, it's good to see you.
He's like, Pop, who's this stunat over here who thinks I talk like I'm from the old country, huh? Yeah. So yeah, he's gonna kick the shit out of me in the back parking lot, I'm sure. It's like, I'm gonna take this cripple out and teach him a lesson, okay? So his wife, angry that, I'm sorry, I'm skipping ahead here. No, I'm not skipping ahead. His wife, angry that he was drunk at a school function. My voice is getting higher because I'm realizing I'm getting the shit kicked out of me in the back of an Olive Garden. His wife, angry that he was drunk at a school function, told him that she wouldn't allow him to join the family for dinner at an Olive Garden, which was probably a blessing in disguise. Later, the teacher showed up at the restaurant belligerent and drunk.
Well, yeah, that's only one place to go after you're drunk, and that's belligerent.
That's right. I'll give you one of those too. That night, his wife and their two kids were all sleeping in the same room at their home when the wife woke up to see her husband pointing a gun at her. Ugh. That is not dessert.
Hey, I got your tiramisu right here.
Oh, no. Is that your best Italian accent?
Yep.
Okay. She told your son-in-law is not going to like that one either.
I could also do, it's a me, a Mario.
It's a me, Mario. She told deputies later that why I sound like Elmo. It's a me, Mario. She told deputies later that the following day a neighbor took possession of her husband's guns. The report says.
A day late.
Yeah.
Hey, thanks a lot, asshole. He pointed at me last night.
A day late and a breadstick short. I suppose Malonis hates the breadsticks too, huh?
No, those are good.
Well, oh, wow, we found a redeeming factor. A warrant was issued for the man's arrest on May 9th. He is charged with aggravated assault with a weapon, and according to the sheriff's office, he was given no bond in order not to have contact with the victim. According to the report, he did not appear in Escambia County inmates in an Escambia County inmate search. Of course not, because the inmates love Olive Garden too.
Yeah. It's prison food.
That's right. Wow. It's prison food. Jesus. A spokesman for the Escambia County Public School District said in a statement that the teacher has been suspended. I don't know. I'm sorry, folks. I'm thinking because they love Olive Garden so much. They're just defending home turf. Escambia, not Escandia. That's in Wisconsin. Scandia is. Escambia County Public School statement says Pensacola is about 200 miles west of Tallahassee and about thousands of miles away from Italy, as it should be.
Yes.
Okay, so tell me what Malonis's problem is with Olive Garden.
Their sauce is just ragu or prego. And if you don't believe me, go order spaghetti with meat sauce. Go buy some ragu or prego. Pour them on a plate. Have a blind taste test. They taste exactly the same.
Really?
Yeah, so instead of spending $20 at Olive Garden, I'll spend $4 at the grocery store.
And is that his only problem?
Then the food sucks. He just says the food sucks. But when he brought that up, and then my daughter's mother-in-law, future mother-in-law, because I had to get so used to this, because the Italians don't call it sauce.
Yeah, it's gravy.
It's gravy.
Yeah.
So she kept talking about the Alfredo gravy. And I'm like, that sounds so disgusting. Like, so I'm thinking like turkey gravy or chicken, brown gravy. And I'm like, Alfredo gravy is gross. Not knowing she's referring to the sauce. And she goes, they don't even have egg in their sauce. I don't know how to make Alfredo, so I would just fake shock and awe and pissed off like she was. That's what she was giving me. I'm like, what do you mean they don't use eggs? You gotta use eggs.
You start throwing shit around the room. What do you mean no egg over here? What? It's ridiculous. Goes, no egg.
You like the Alfredo, don't you? I'm like, I do, with eggs.
With eggs. Who makes it without eggs? What are you, some kind of barbarian over here? I'm going to go have a beer. By the time I get back, there better be eggs in Olive Garden's gravy. And then you're like, I don't know what the fuck she's talking about. Come on, Talia, let's go. We're going to go for a walk.
Yeah, but she did say, because we drove past the Olive Garden, and I go, oh, when you're here, your family. She goes, if you go there, you're out of this family. I'm like, whoa.
I got to give her another one of those. You're out of this family.
I looked at my daughter. I'm like, are you sure you're good? She's like, I'll give up Olive Garden for him.
Aww.
Yeah.
Aww, that's one of these. Aww, it's magical. Aww.
Yeah, they're meant for each other.
Yeah. Jeez. Wow.
I can't wait for that reception, though.
Yeah, well, that'll be interesting. That'll be fun. Yeah.
Well, they were sharing the menu with me. Whew.
Wow.
Italian as Italian gets.
Oh, that's good. That's good. It's not only spirited, but good food, man. Holy cow. Yeah.
And a lot of it.
Yeah.
They cook so much.
I had some good food from Biaggi's this weekend at my aunt's 70th birthday party. Good stuff. Good stuff. We're going to move on from really good Italian food to PB&J.
Hey, best sandwich ever.
Yeah, it is. It is.
You got to think, you're never not in the mood for a PB&J. Like, if you're just sitting there, you're kind of hungry, and someone makes a PB&J, you're like, yeah, I'll eat that.
By the way, are you a fan of the Uncrustables? It's not a movie, by the way. Oh. It's not like it's a,
I'm addicted to them. So I'm very superstitious for my wrestling.
Yep.
I always stop at a gas station and pick up 2 Uncrustables, and I eat them right before my match.
Really?
And it goes all the way back to my first time doing extra work for WWE.
Really?
Because they have those things everywhere. And I was like, what are these? And someone explained to me. I was like, oh, my God. And I remember going over and eating 2 of them and then doing really good. And so it stuck with me. And what's funny is one of the times we're there, and I'm telling all the guys that we're doing the extra work, I'm like, you guys got to try these Uncrustables. They're amazing. And we walk over, and there's the Big Show. Now, for people that don't know who the Big Show is, he is a 7-foot-tall, 500-pound man who is very large. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And the littlest guy with us, we used to call him Bonsai. His name is Bao Win. He's now currently a referee with WWE.
Okay.
But at the time, he was just a schlub like us. He walked up and didn't see Big Show walking and put his hands in for the Uncrustables, and Big Show put his hand over his little Asian hand. So Big Show goes, what are you doing? And Bao goes, please don't eat me, and walks away. But just to sum it all up, I steal as many Uncrustables when I do when I used to do extra work all the time. And to this day, I still eat 2 right before my match.
It is like a PB&J pie. It is so good.
Yep.
Yeah. I love me some Uncrustables.
I do too.
One of the things you don't want in your Uncrustable is meth. Just saying. I mean, it will give you that extra little kick, for during the day, but you'll definitely lose all your teeth. I'm just saying.
Well, then I have nothing to worry about.
Yeah, exactly. One woman is, by the way, if you go through TSA now when you're traveling, peanut butter is a liquid. You can only have 3 ounces of it.
I know this.
One woman wasn't thinking straight when she went through TSA. And you have to drink it, by the way. If you bring it through TSA and you have more than 3 ounces, you either have to throw it or you have to just start eating as much peanut butter as possible.
I think I'm going to do that next time I fly, just to screw with the TSA. I'm going to get there like 4 hours early, so I have nowhere to be for 4 hours. And I'm just going to slowly, and I'm going to stare at them too. It's like,
just like,
I'm going to make those noises as I do it. Looking right at ugly TSA person right in the face, like, yeah, look at your tight pants. You think you have all this power.
Just like a really sexy Winnie the Pooh in the honey jar.
I'm going to make it so awkwardly sexy. Where you'll be like, why am I being turned on by this? There's a toothless man eating peanut butter in front of me.
Yeah.
I'll be like, hey, you got the time? Yeah, it's 1:45. Oh, my flight's soon. Oh.
Yeah, I got the time. It's time for me to resign. That's too funny.
Hey, can you strip search me while I do this?
What is this? It's a taint. It taint my jar of peanut butter.
Mrs. Bruiser's going to be so mad at me because she's flying with me next time we're flying.
And you're bringing peanut butter.
She's be like, you're a guy who shows up an hour before your flight. Why are we here 4 hours early? Oh, you'll see.
Honey, I brought something sexy and it ain't the lube.
Oh.
Yeah.
Watch me help these TSA people out.
I'm going to make their day real interesting.
Yeah, I'm going to get like the big jar of peanut butter too.
The economy size 64 ounce.
I'm going to be so full afterwards, but I don't care.
And it's going to be chunky. Yeah.
I'm going to try and cover as much of my body in that too as I'm eating it.
So you can bring it with you on the plane.
I hope whoever sits next to me is not allergic to peanuts, because I am just going to reek like them.
No. They have a patch for that now, though. So somebody could wear the peanut patch and actually get away with it. Oh, God. I hope someone's not allergic to peanuts.
Oh, that TSA, they're going to be in for a treat.
So instead of the Beer City Bruiser, you'd be the asshole allergy guy.
But everybody that goes to TSA is going to have a story. Let me tell you.
That's true. How are we getting so far off of these stories today? A woman is accused of smuggling meth past TSA in a peanut butter jar, and she's busted by Utah police.
How did that get in there?
What? Isn't that just a peanut?
Her first mistake was she used a creamy bottle instead of a crunchy bottle.
Yes, that always is. A suspect attempting to smuggle meth through the Salt Lake City International Airport in Utah was busted after hiding the drugs in 2 peanut butter jars that were ultimately snatched by TSA security. Officers with the Salt Lake City Police Department said that this investigation began just after 10:30 a.m. on Thursday when members of their airport division were notified about a suspicious item found during routine TSA screening. While peanut butter is considered a liquid by TSA and therefore is only allowed past security in amounts less than or equal to 3.4 ounces, the operators of the security checkpoint were reportedly more concerned over a crystallized substance that could be seen in the first jar that was seized rather than the 40 ounces of liquid it was holding. Who brings a 40-ounce jar of peanut butter with them on a trip?
This guy. Because I am eating 37 ounces of that son of a bitch right in front of that TSA person.
Get real close to me, Daddy. Do I smell like peanuts? Do you like the way the peanut butter glistens off my tongue?
I got extra creamy for you.
Oh, you're going to
Peter Pan away and got the Skippy.
You're going to be the hit of the airport.
I am. I already am when I travel. More now.
Some business traveler's just going to throw his carry-on at you and get hauled off.
What's going to suck is I'm going to get the normal TSA people that I always get. And you can become friends when you travel as much as I do. You see them enough.
Yeah.
So they kind of know who I am. I'm about to make it really awkward really quick.
They're going to be like, I didn't know we had this kind of relationship.
What kind of wrestling do you do?
Yeah, exactly. You don't do like nude peanut butter wrestling at strip bars, do you? I just thought you were like a legitimate pro wrestler, but hey.
I'll make sure that the KY jelly's right next to it.
I call this a peanut butter and sexy sandwich, baby.
PB&J sexy style.
Yeah. Salt Lake City Police Department airport officers secured the luggage and took 2 individuals into custody while a detective conducted a search of the baggage, if you know what I mean.
Now, why would you try to get something past Salt Lake City, Utah? Like, police. Like, you can't do anything in Salt Lake City. You can't even drink soda. Like, you're not allowed caffeine, alcohol, nothing in Salt Lake.
You can't drink soda in Salt Lake.
What makes you think you're going to get your meth through their TSA?
Excuse me, that has caffeine.
Sure, that Coca-Cola is illegal.
That's going to make you run fast.
Starbucks is our number 3 wanted.
That's right.
Person state here.
We don't even allow Dunkin' in this airport. During the search, officers said that they found a total of 2 jars of peanut butter, including the one initially confiscated, with over half a pound of crystal meth concealed in the jars. You're not getting away with that.
No.
You're just not getting away with that. You just aren't.
Do you think their thinking was, hey, even with this half a pound of meth, we're still underweight where we don't have to check the bags?
Yes. Yeah, they were worried about weight, not what was in the jars. One suspect, 61-year-old. By the way, I wonder the person, if they did get it through TSA, they get it to wherever they're going, and somebody gets the meth with the peanut butter on it, and they fire it up. Did they add chocolate to it and make a Reese's meth deal go?
What happens if they're allergic to peanuts?
Then they're screwed.
Like they take a puff and just slowly their face starts expanding.
Oh, no. What do you call it when you fire up? I mean, when you fire up meth with peanut butter on it, do you call it the Jimmy Carter or the
Elvis?
It's an Elvis. No, that's when you put the banana in with it too.
Oh yeah, the banana and the Quaaludes.
Yeah, the banana Quaaludes. That's the yes, that's the Elvis. Ah, good God. Okay, let's get through this story because we got a couple.
The greatest story ever.
I know we're not going to get to everything today, but we're already, we're getting close, but we're not going to get to everything today. One suspect, 61-year-old Melissa Hawking, was arrested and booked into the Salt Lake City County Metro Jail on one charge of distributing a controlled substance. The other person who was initially detained with Hawking was released, evidently because her shit wasn't as good. Salt Lake City Police Department Chief Mike Brown released the following statement on this matter. "We will not allow our airport to be used as a gateway for drug smuggling." I'm doing it in the voice of the officer. "The officers of the Salt Lake City Police Department's Airport Division will continue to do everything in their power to disrupt drug trafficking. We are proud to have strong partnerships with the TSA, Peter Pan, Skippy, and other federal agencies, and we are united in our efforts to help ensure the safety of the Salt Lake City International Airport and all points in between."
Go Mormons.
Oh, come on now. Why you got to bring the Mormons into the Mormons didn't do anything.
Utah.
Well, yeah, true.
Utah, but I'm taller. Okay.
Okay. All right, we got 3 stories left here. We're going to do 3 stories. We're going to see. If we can get through these without melting down as we have in the last one. We go back to your old hometown here.
Good old Milwaukee.
Good old Milwaukee. There's certain things you can try and get away with and get away from the police in.
In Milwaukee, oh yeah, there's a lot.
Yeah, I don't recommend this mode of transportation when trying to get away from the cops.
Okay.
A man was spotted riding an e-scooter down I-94 in Milwaukee. Evidently tried to get away from the cops in it. The scooter appears to be one of the Lime scooters, which are supposed to shut off when a rider enters restricted zones.
Yeah, but the thing is, you can still push.
A man was spotted riding an electric scooter down the interstate in Milwaukee on Thursday morning. The Wisconsin Department of Transportation followed the scooter using its cameras along I-94. The scooter appears to be one of the Lime scooters, which is supposed to shut off when a rider enters restricted zones. The man was seen on several cameras, including the camera at I-41 and Drexel Avenue and Ryan Road. TMJ4 monitored the cameras until the man had exited the interstate on Ryan Road and rode out of a WISDOT camera's view. I'm a rebel, Dottie. Traffic Management Center was watching him on the cameras, but lost him about 13th and Ryan. Unfortunately, we were finishing up with our roll call. They didn't need to be disturbed. They had roll call going on.
Do we have any emergencies? No, just the dude in the scooter riding on the freeway. Oh, he'll be there in 10 minutes.
Yeah, he'll still be there in about half hour. Deputy was dispatched. By the time he got down there, we couldn't locate him, since Sergeant Daniel Hansen, who evidently was red-faced when he said this.
The e-scooters have GPS on them. Just type that bad boy in and you'll find them.
Yeah, exactly. He's not going anywhere. Sergeant Daniel Hansen with the Milwaukee County Sheriff's Office was quoted as saying that a pedestrian on the freeway can receive a $204 ticket, Bruiser. That's it for doing that. By the way, dockless scooters can travel up to 15 miles an hour, so please don't jump in front of one. You might get a bruise. Yeah. By the way, the speed limit on I-94, 70 miles an hour. You'll never keep up in a scooter. I guarantee it.
Unless you pull a Back to the Future and grab onto the back end of a truck moving by, which do not do.
No, don't do that.
Do not try that at home.
Don't give them ideas. It's dangerous to them, but also to the people that may be driving by. Sergeant Hansen went on to say they look over at him and they don't see the car stopping in front of them. That's kind of comical. That's one of those mayhem moments from the commercial.
Yep. Oh, yeah.
You could just see Mayhem on the scooter. Hi, I'm Mayhem, and I'm here to get you in trouble. Yeah. The scooter company Lime tells TMJ4 News that the man has been banned from using the e-scooters in the future. That's right. Screw you, buddy.
Oh, darn.
Yep. This rider, this is their statement from Lime. Are you ready for this?
Yeah.
Yeah. Lime is pissed off, boy. You took one of our
corporate BS.
You took one of our scooters on the highway, you criminal.
That's $204.
That's that biggest $204 fine you'll ever pay. They said this rider behavior is as rare as it is unacceptable. We have found and banned the rider and will continue our work in partnership with the city to encourage riding safely and respecting the law, which is what the vast majority of our riders do, Bruiser.
Why didn't they give the information to the police to arrest the guy?
Because it's too embarrassing. Over 99% of our rides are completed without reported incident. Ridership in Milwaukee has been strong this year, and our safety record has been as well. By the way, we are an excellent source of contraception because you'll never get laid on one of our scooters. Just saying. They also said that TMJ4 reached out to Milwaukee County Sheriff's Office to see if they had any information. Most of them were hiding under their desks.
We don't know where this guy is. Ask us after roll call.
Yeah, that's right. They said, let us take our coffee and donut break, and we'll be hiding under our desks and have nothing to say to you. This is embarrassing to us.
He's not going far. He'll be okay. Yeah.
They said, who again? You're looking for who? And they said that guy on the Lime scooter out on 94, they said, he's still out there? And they were like, oh, yeah, we got to go get him, don't we?
Oh, shucks, I knew we forgot something.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, him. Yeah. Oh.
I wish we knew who he was.
This is how the Milwaukee County Sheriff's Office started their response by email.
Okay.
Very official.
Okay.
No screwing around over at Milwaukee County.
Oh, of course not.
This is the official response. Hi, folks. If you're receiving this email,
We're just going to send it to all the media.
what do they think it is? A radio communique?
Yep.
You're typing it out. It's in an email address. You're probably going to get it. It didn't kick back to you. Hi, folks. If you're receiving this email, you or your news outlet inquired about the subject line. Evidently, email's new to the Milwaukee County Sheriff.
They're like, hey, how do we send one thing to everybody?
Yeah. Hey,
Don't type this over and over and over again.
So the county sheriff goes, I got a question for the IT guy. Come on over here. Okay, so as I got the email open, and I want to send it to all the media.
I got the Fox 6, the Channel 4, the Channel 12, the TMZ. How do I get them all in this email?
Okay, so as I want to talk about this goofball on the scooter. Okay, so as I want to open up with something real official. Here we go. Hi, folks. If you're getting this here message, no. I don't want to make it so conversational. I want it to be official. Oh, okay, so here's the deal. If you're receiving this here email, using your news outlet inquired about the subject line, which is big guys on scooters who can't get laid. No, I'm sorry, guys on the freeway who think they can race with cars.
See, the prankster in me would respond back with, why am I getting this?
Yeah, exactly.
If I'm really throw that person off, like, oh no, how did he get it?
If I'm sitting at TMJ4, I'm like, did you hack the Milwaukee County Sheriff's Office? You need to go back to playing video games, kid. I don't know what you're doing. So here's how.
Hey y'all, I just got high score on Call of Duty. Oh, and by the way,
this is fun. But here's the rest of the email.
Okay.
I don't know if they hired a 15-year-old kid or maybe a 10-year-old kid who's never done an email
Sheriff's
before.
like, this is below me. Honey, where's the kids? Kids, put this email together.
I think this was actually a 75-year-old guy who's retiring tomorrow at the Milwaukee County Sheriff's Department, who's just nice and conversational. He goes, here's what I know. It's my understanding that a call came into 911 dispatch at 7:40 a.m. reporting that a person had ridden a scooter onto southbound 994 via the Rawson Avenue on-ramp. Deputy Sheriff was dispatched from the Patrol Division substation at 7:42 a.m. and made his way to the reported locations of the scooter. From my understanding, the rider exited the freeway at Drexel Avenue, re-entered the freeway on the southbound Drexel on-ramp, continued south, exited the freeway again at Ryan Road, traveled east to Ryan to 13th Street, turned south on 13th Street, and that's where the cameras lost track of him at about 7:36 a.m.
I'm surprised he didn't put any helpful directions. Like, instead of getting on here at Drexel, he should have went up to 14th. Cut over to Ryan that way. It saved him a lot of time.
Take the cut off to Slauson, cut off your Slauson. There's more, by the way, Bruiser. He said, ultimately, the dispatch deputy was unable to locate the individual who, again, had exited the freeway prior to the deputy's arrival in the vicinity. And then he puts in quotes, normal patrols continued, as opposed to the abnormal ones who weren't on duty yet. And deputies have kept an eye out for the individual or anyone else engaging in illegal or dangerous movement on the freeway system. So there's more than one of these Lime scooters out there somewhere.
Yeah, and the best is they don't know who it is yet. Lime has already said, we're working with the city. We have all the information we need.
Yeah, I don't know. It's
Someone's lying.
It's chaos. It's chaos in Milwaukee.
Cats and dogs living together.
It's just guys on scooters drinking beer in Milwaukee, just going nuts. Okay, the following is our not safe for work deal. We got 3 stories left. Let's power through. You ready? Can you guys even stand this right now? I mean, can you? This one's sent to us by Tom, who evidently is a big fan of Tennessee hotels and night managers sucking on toes. I'm not even giving you a heads up.
I saw this on the local news the other day, and I was like, this better be on Dumb Crime, Stupid Criminals.
It is.
Especially if you have the picture of the guy. The picture is worth it.
Oh, well, nobody can see it on this podcast, but sure, I do have the picture. Tennessee hotel guest woke up to a night manager sucking on his toes. You may ask, is it a crime or is it a benefit of the hotel? I don't know.
Motel 6. We'll leave the light on, and our manager will be in your room to make sure your toes are clean.
That's you. Pedicures, manicures, and licking the toe jam up for you. Yeah.
Do you have to pay extra for that? Yeah. Is it literally like $69.99 a night, or for $79.99 a night he'll suck your toes?
It's an amenity, my friend.
Okay.
An amenity and a privilege. An evening manager of a Tennessee hotel was arrested after he snuck into a man's room and sucked on his toes. Okay, some guys may enjoy it if it's another guy. I'm not judging. Hey, you do you, buddy. You do you, brother. You do you.
See, he forgot when he checked in to let him know, like, when you get in, you're like, hey, when you make my bed, don't tuck the sheets in. I like the sheets loose. And don't have the night manager come and suck my toes. I'm not into that. And yes, I will need some more towels.
Yeah. Now, some guys may like a lady to suck their toes. I don't know. Some guy may like the family dog to come up and lick out the toe jam. I don't know. You do you, buddy. You do you.
But don't think everybody else does you like you do you.
Okay, maybe you want to lick out your own toe jam. I don't care. Maybe you've been doing DDP yoga. You're flexible like that. I have no idea. But stress it at the beginning when you check into the hotel.
Yeah, I always say no toe sucking tonight.
That's right. Isn't that a Bachman Turner Overdrive song? No toe sucking tonight in my hotel. No toe sucking tonight in my tea.
Yes.
Yeah.
I thought that was the Guess Who.
Oh, it's the Guess Who. I'm sorry. I don't know. They're all the same band, aren't they? Nah,
sure.
I got
one's English, one's American. Yeah. Hey, what are you going to do?
Who knows? I don't know. I did. I'm drunk. So...
I'm on a peanut butter high, so that's
I know,
okay.
yeah. You've got too much meth in your peanut butter. It's a new feature from Jiffy.
Extra crunchy, extra methy.
Extra methy, extra crunchy. An evening manager of a Tennessee hotel was arrested after he snuck into a man's room and sucked on his toes, according to police. David Neal is a 52-year-old manager at the 4th Avenue South Hilton Hotel in Nashville. I always thought Paris Hilton was a little freaky.
I was going to say, that happened at a Hilton?
Yeah. So David Neal allegedly crept into a male guest's room while he was sleeping on March 30th and got intimate with his feet.
Oh.
Yeah. According to Nashville Metropolitan Police, Neal made a key card to get into the room and entered at around 5 a.m. The guest told police he woke up to Neal's mouth around his toes and immediately confronted him.
Oh, yeah. Do you think the guy was like, oh, whoa, this is all, that's all.
Oh, please don't kick me.
Free of charge?
Okay, this is awkward.
I didn't think you'd wake up right now.
Let me guess, you're ticklish? He recognized Neal as one of the hotel employees who came into the room the day before to fix his TV. Let me guess, your antenna is straight and so are you.
Are you getting that HBO now? You're good? Okay.
Are you getting that HBO now? Succession was pretty good tonight, wasn't it? Was I? Oh, dear God. He recognized Neal as one of the hotel employees. Of course, he came in the room the day before to fix his TV. Neal admitted to police that he had entered the room, but claimed he did so because he smelled smoke and wanted to make sure the guest was okay.
Because, he's running so fast. He's like the Flash and his feet are on fire.
I smelled smoke in your room. I think it's because you're so hot. So, did that do anything for you?
So, is this a yes or a no?
If I can continue, wiggle your big toe.
Even if I can't, just wiggle it. Please wiggle your big toe. It's stuck behind my canine.
Police said Neil never reported smelling smoke to security. And there were no other reports of guests or staff smelling smoke at the hotel. Yeah.
That's literally the first thing you guys said. Hey, why are you in his room? I smelled smoke. There was smoke. I smelled it. Okay.
The room key was not recovered, cops said. Neil told investigators that he had thrown it away, along with his career. He was arrested at his home in Lebanon on Friday and was charged with aggravated burglary and assault, according to police. He's currently jailed on how much bond, Bruiser?
$500.
Oh, let's go higher.
$1,500.
Let's try again.
$2,500.
$27,000.
Jeez. He must have been really bad at sucking toes.
That's the most expensive toe job in the history of toe jobs.
Hey, was it worth it? Yeah, look at all these toes I got here in person. They're everywhere.
I'm the head of the cell block.
They call me Soul Brother.
Oh, I see what you did there. Soul Brother. I get it. Yeah. That took me a minute. But, there's that. Yeah. I was debating whether I wanted to read this next story.
Okay.
First of all, what is wrong with female teachers?
I don't know. Where were they when we were kids?
See, there's that, but then they're sexually abusing.
Yeah, no, I get
students,
the sexual
right?
abuse. Yeah, that I don't like. But I just all my teacher. I had one hot teacher growing up.
Yeah, well, I did too. Yeah, Spanish.
The rest were just old.
I had one teacher, Mrs. Williams. Miss Williams. She had a Southern accent. She had this really weird stuck up. It was like not a bouffant, but it was almost like a pompadour. It was a gray pompadour. And she would rake her neck on the back of boys' necks.
Ugh.
Yeah, with long nails. And I think the only person she was attractive to was another teacher, an English teacher she taught with, who looked like E.T. That's the only thing I can relate it to.
Yeah.
Miss Williams. And she had a Southern accent. And none of the boys found her attractive, but I think she was hoping for a relationship with the younger boy. There's a Delaware former teacher at a middle school.
Oh, yeah, this is way wrong.
Yeah.
I mean, it's wrong either way. Don't get me wrong. It's wrong because they're children.
Right. Accused of having a 2-month sexual relationship with a student. She's in her 40s.
This lady needs to discover Tinder.
Yeah.
If you have to desperately do it, just get on Tinder or Grindr or Bumble or
my nephew used that exact same line this weekend.
Or Farmers' Wives or whatever.
And he popped me with it. He goes, I don't know, he was talking about my brother, actually, at the time. He said, I don't know, he just needs to get on, Tinder or Grindr, I don't know, whatever, and find himself a life. I just started laughing. A former Delaware middle school teacher was arrested on Monday on allegations that she had a 2-month sexual relationship with one of her students. Delaware State Police. Normally, we talk about Florida when we talk about this stuff.
Yeah, Delaware is weird.
Yeah, Delaware. It's like, it's like, that's like, I don't know, like Kennedy country, isn't it?
That's Briscoe country, baby.
That's Briscoe country, baby. Delaware State Police arrested 42-year-old Reed Messer. And she's a woman, not a guy. Normally Reed is a guy's name, but Reed Messer of Greenville, South Carolina, for several counts of rape and sexual abuse of a child by a person of trust. State Police Criminal Investigations Unit received a report from the Delaware Division of Family Services on December 23rd of last year, alleging Messer, a former teacher of Stanton Middle School in Wilmington, had a sexual relationship with a student nearly 9 years prior. Investigators learned that the alleged relationship started in October of 2014 and lasted about 2 months. Troopers secured an arrest warrant for Messer on April 26, resulting in South Carolina police locating the suspect at her home in Greenville and taking her into custody. Police said Messer was held in the Department of Corrections in South Carolina until Monday, where she was extradited to Delaware. Messer has been charged with 2 counts of first-degree sexual assault of a child by a person of trust and 10 counts each of third and fourth degree rape, which are felonies. She was arraigned by the Justice of the Peace Court and held in the Dolores J. Baylor Women's Correctional Institution on a $310,000 bond. Police added that Messer had not been employed by the Red Clay Consolidated School District since November of 2014.
Oh, wow. So this was a while ago. So the kid grew up and probably has some problems and can say those problems started right here.
But it's good that there's not necessarily a statute of limitations here.
There is, but it's normally 10 years.
Yeah. So
she's falling right underneath it.
Right. School district officials did not immediately respond to inquiries about the allegations. Police said the investigation is still ongoing. Tips can be provided to Delaware Crime Stoppers at 1-800-847-3333. So, yeah, evidently.
The thinking is that there's one, there's going to be more.
Yes, that there's more kids that were actually taken advantage of.
Yeah, because when they're predators like that, one doesn't satiate them. They need more.
Right. Okay, we're going to get a little funny at the end here and not safe for work. I actually saw a story as I was looking up something to end the show with today about the fact that there's a sex shop that gave workers their day off to self-pleasure themselves. They made it a holiday.
All right.
I was
a great holiday.
I was like, come on, really? You
gotta test the products out. You walk in and you go, hey, what do you recommend? Yeah,
I guess. Here's the headline on this is, considering some indecent exposure, then make sure you leave your Bluetooth speaker at home. Are you ready for this one?
I'm always worried that when someone sends me a video like you or my other friends who we all have soft mark.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And it's usually that picture of that big black guy with the big giant whatever, that someone around me is going to look over my shoulder and it'll be like, it's my asshole friends. I promise it's not me.
That's why I get a lot of videos from different listeners and I never open them in public, around family, anything.
Yeah, and there's people on my list when I get a message from them where it's, okay, this can wait till I'm not in the airport.
Yep, exactly.
I love you guys, but you guys send me some weird stuff.
That's right. Here's a tip for all you perverts out there who are probably still listening, and those of you who turned us off by now, well, you're probably not even listening, so it doesn't.
And you're not going to learn anything.
That's right. If you're planning to do the old masturbation while watching a porno on your phone while at your apartment complex's outdoor pool, I don't know anybody who does, but if that's your thing, do not connect your device to a Bluetooth speaker because amplified moaning will bring unwanted attention.
You think?
Yep.
Man, these headphones I bought are great. I'm not even wearing them, but I can hear it.
These are amazing. Why are my AirPods so loud? Florida police. We're going to Florida, Bruiser, for this last story. Yes, of course. Were summoned to the Palms of Clearwater Development Sunday night when after a witness reported seeing a man pull his pants down and begin to masturbate to a pornographic video on his personal cell phone.
Can't find another place for that? Come on, man.
Like at the pool, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, anybody could be at the pool. Young kids could be at the pool. Granny could be at the pool.
Nobody wants to swim in that.
No, exactly. Yep. Cops identified the accused masturbator, a guy who should know better, 51-year-old Christopher Harris.
He's 51, doesn't learn not to touch his wiener in public.
No, he hasn't. He's a resident of the Palms, which describes itself as a Mediterranean oasis only minutes from the Clearwater beaches. Now, being a Mediterranean oasis doesn't mean you should go Greek and whip it out just for anybody.
It's not hedonistic.
That's right. Harris, police noted in an arrest affidavit, also connected the video to a Bluetooth speaker and began playing the video out loud as he was jerking the gherkin. Multiple officers responding to a 911 call observed Harris pleasuring himself by the pool. They show the pool. I was going to say as observed below, but he was not. There's not a picture of him doing it.
Do they stop him then?
Well, I'm about to get there. Not unlike him.
Yeah.
After being read his rights, Harris reportedly admitted to playing with himself. That's in quotes, adding that when he is intoxicated, he does stupid things. No shit, Sherlock. Harris was arrested for exposure of his sexual organs, a misdemeanor. He was released from the county jail Monday night on his own recognizance. I don't know that I'd do that. He'd probably just repeat the crime. Harris's rap sheet includes convictions for criminal mischief and battery. So he's not a very nice boy.
He's not a good boy, yeah.
No. Here's what this Dingle Fritz looks like, Bruiser, just between you, me, and the fence post.
Oh, yeah, he doesn't get laid.
No, he looks like a guy who would probably finger himself, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, he's nothing for the ladies.
No. You probably, ladies, if you were in a bar and you looked at him and he came over and said, "Hey, how's it going?" Which is probably, it looks like the way he talked.
Yeah.
You probably would just turn around and continue to talk to your girlfriend to finish your drink.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
you would accept his free drink, say thank you, and leave.
Exactly. That would,
and then dump it out because it's probably roofied.
That's right. Yeah. You nailed it right on the head there, Bruiser. That'll do it for Dumb Crime, Stupid Criminals for this week. We appreciate you being with us here on True Crime Tuesday. We want to thank Burl Barer and Fred Wolfson for being on today, talking about the lives of a Hollywood private eye, private investigator. Interesting show today, by the way, folks. Interesting tips, by the way, for how to catch your loved one if maybe there's a little bit of cheating going on. And other things today on today's show. We've got some interesting guests coming up. I just figured today's a different program. We got a little bit of an insight on the Roseanne Barr, Tom Arnold thing today. And lots of other things. Burl is kind of a fountain of information off the air. I've talked to him about a lot of different things. And so it was great to have Burl Barer back on the show today. You can get that book by simply clicking on the link in the description of this program. So interesting book. Lots of good stuff in there. So check that out as well. Bruiser, what you got going on this weekend?
This Saturday, I believe I'm in Waynesville, North Carolina. I'm somewhere in North Carolina for UCP. It's a brand new startup company. And they reached out to me, want to have the Bruiser come on. I'm going to do a little bit of an autograph signing and do some of that wrestling. Nice. And then, of course, I'm training the future. I'm back off vacation. Back to training the future Monday nights and Wednesday nights. And I'm very proud because one of my students is actually, this is Tuesday. So last night on Monday Night Raw was an extra. And then on Friday for SmackDown, she will be an extra. So
nice.
I'm a proud papa right now.
Absolutely, absolutely. So tune in Friday night for SmackDown to see Bruiser's student on SmackDown. That's nice. I will be up at KNSI in St. Cloud on Saturday. So tune in between 7 and 9 Central Time if you just want to hear me talk about something other than crime and paranormal. That's all. Tomorrow on the program, we are talking supernatural news.
Ooh.
Yeah. And then on Thursday, we have L.A. Marzulli. We'll be talking crop circles and potential aliens or other creatures. And we'll also be talking a little bit about the Nephilim. So that'll be coming up on Thursday.
Very cool.
That's your week here on Darkness Radio. So for Beer City Bruiser, I'm Tim Dennis. Thank you so much for tuning in for the best in true crime podcasting. This is True Crime Tuesday.